And streams. There's a jolly figure, or so it seems, with a belly round and a heart so grand. He's the YouTube grifter, the joy of the land. Oh, he's as fat as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. He's got a knack for stories, both wild and true. With a twinkle in his eye, he'll entertain you. From baking fails to epic wins, he's the gift that keeps on giving. Let the fun begin. Oh, he's as fat as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. He's got around your screens, and don't be shy. He's got a tale to tell and a pie in the sky. With every click and every view, he's spreading holiday spirit just for you. Oh, he's as fat as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. So here's to the grifter, our digital friend. May his joy and laughter never end. With a ho, 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 and a hearty cheer. Merry Christmas to all, and a Happy New Year!
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, what if any you might be. And welcome to day 4 in the Joseph Ferlazzo trial. According to the judge, we should be doing fine. We should probably end showing the evidence today. I don't understand if he means all of the evidence, tout suite, as they say in France. So the trial is done today, maybe, I don't know. Or so we'll get to closing tomorrow. I don't think they have much of a defense other than him taking the stand. Marissa, get some sleep. Marissa. Oh, and I have to say thank you so much, Carrie, for the corner kiss doing yesterday's stream. I forgot my phone in my bedroom, so I didn't get the notification, but thank you so much. You'll still get a sticker. How are you this fine day? Well, I am fine. I had my show yesterday with Massa Media, got to bed around 1:30, probably fell asleep around 2:30. Got called into court today at 8 a.m. and spent the entire morning in court till around 1. So I'm looking forward to doing a midnight stream today as well, because I'm an idiot. I'm happy I didn't set the alarm to get up at 4:30 to do my morning stream. I'm not that smart. Hey, Gwyneth. Hey, Jen. Ariel. Hyacinth. And Beach Bum. Busy day. Well, interesting day. It was a type of case I never tried before. He has 14 days to appeal it, so I can't really talk about it, but it was a weird case. Hey, Diana. Hey, Jen. And thank you all for joining yesterday doing the Massa stream. The thing I wanted to do with that 12 creators for Christmas was trying to have 12 very different people on. And we had Harry on the first day, where we were more loose, talking about everything and all thing. Yesterday, it was more Karen Reed sentence. Tonight will be publicly bussed. Never met the guy before. Well, I never met Masa either. So it's going to be interesting. It's also a surprise for me to see where we will be going with this show. But that'll be 6 p.m. Eastern time tonight. If you want to join us and meet a new creator, you might know him. He's done some streams with Mo. I never met him, so I make good suggestions for myself sometimes. No, I don't want to put an ad in now. Hey, 80s. Hey, Plushie. I was just watching a video. I saw so many, Irish people trying Danish alcohol, American people trying Danish candy. Why didn't I become a try channel? Just sit and eat American candy all the time. Imagine sitting here eating moon pies and say, this is the worst I ever had. You might be biased. For whom? For what? Against whom? Hey, Anya. Helen from Holland. So, no, there's so many American candies I haven't tried, and you're always talking about it. Jamie's always sitting there saying, you can't get anything better than a milk dud. And I'm thinking, well, I am a dud, and I do drink milk, so you can't get better than me. Hey, Special K. Well, it's a man. We do stuff like that. Me talking about eating weird American things while your dog is puking. Yeah. Oh, you're publicly boss Mud. Yeah, he seems like a funny fella, and I think it'll be way more all over the place today than it was yesterday, because yesterday it was very much Canton related, and I think today will be more like with Harry, where we're talking about who, why, what, and tomorrow it's Brandy Churchwell, and she's also very, very interesting. But we also have a Karen Reed hearing tomorrow, so we'll probably touch a bit on that as well. Hey, Julie. I love moon pies. Rolos are better than milk duds. Moon pies are hard to chew, doesn't taste good. It's like a marshmallow that's gone stale. And just by me saying that, have made it sure that I can never go to Tennessee again, or the White Rabbit will hunt me down and bury me at the black side. Well, I'm glad that people are, again, as a YouTube creator, you can do I'm going to do the 3 huts and a cut. I'm just going to do my everyday grind. I'm going to do it the same all the time. Do a trial, bingo bango, do my stab your days, take Sundays off. Or you can try something new. My numbers have been going down. I could sit and cry and say YouTube is hitting me on the algorithm, or thinking people might want something new. So I made something new. Hey, Phoenix. Dark chocolate sea salt Rolos. Oh. Whoever gifted you a membership, thank you so very much. I hated to lose my milestone, but it's just the way things are right now. So if you're out here today, thank you. Love our crew. Lynn, never think about me. It's Christmas. I know there's more important people out there who need a Christmas gift, a little bit extra candy, whatever you have. Never worry about me. But if it was yesterday, it's probably Patrick W. who did it. Well, it's a good day for Marissa today. Only 70% as mean as Jamie, which is a lot still, but yeah. That PFP? I don't know. Hey, Kim, how are you doing this fine morning? But no, it's going to be... I don't think we're going to have much more. We had the DNA. We had the wrongful testimony about the guy who claimed he could see what guns did what. We had the lead investigator who did the crime scene. So the medical examiner, and did we have the lead detective? I'm a little bit, I'm not sure, but the ME and the lead detective should be some of the only two left on the state's witness list so far. But I don't know. It's been going straight forward the entire time. We had that stupid interrogation video they wouldn't stipulate to. Other than that, it hasn't been much of a hassle. Of course, we've gone through all the boring. Yes, I know a DNA. I've seen a DNA before. This is how you recognize a DNA and all of that stuff. But that's just, they need it. I don't know why, but they need it. Other than that, I think this case, I really can't see it. He has to be very good on the stand to sway my mind. And yes, I do believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But as we always say, at this point, he should be proven guilty, and then the defense should bring it back to reasonable doubt, and I just can't see it happen. Hey, Jennifer Duncan. Yeah, it's a little festive Christmas background, and welcome from the Scottish Highlands, Lowlands, or in between, the Middle Lands. Isn't the Middle Lands in England? I might be wrong. Geography was never my strong suit. I would like to go. Ever since I watched Rob Roy, I wanted to go see the Highlands. I don't know why. Because, yeah, Rob Roy was in the Highlands. Tim, what's his name? Tim Cook? No, who's the guy who plays the dandy who with the rapier? Ferlazzo, you should be here. He's such a weird person. Played really good. Midlands is in England. I know stuff. It's 16 degrees. I'm not getting out of bed. 16 degrees, that's summer heat. Go find Nessie. Yeah. Oh, you are in Glasgow. The Highlands in Scotland are beautiful. Oh, so you can give us Glasgow kiss. Or is it Glasgow smile? It's a Glasgow smile. Or is it both of them? Both of them hurts. But we are actually, if any of our Scandi friends or the close to Scandinavian friends are here, when Iris is coming in March, we are talking about maybe do both. You can get a kiss and a smile in Glasgow. You don't want any of them. But when Iris gets to
in the matter of state versus Joseph,
when Iris gets here to visit in March, she's going to the UK first and then popping over. We might do a meetup, some kind of just a not anything fancy like we did in Tennessee, but if anyone wants to come join us, we're going to walk around Copenhagen. I'm going to pretend I know anything. Might go to a museum or two. Might maybe go back, get an hour of sleep, then go out and have a beer. It could be fun if you're close by. I know Penilla is coming.
Ferlazzo Jr., 21 CR 8967. Mr. Ferlazzo is present with his attorneys, Ms. Hanson, Ms. Johnson, and the state's present through Ms. George and Ms. Adams. We're here to begin another day of jury trial. Are there any issues to address? I take it there are not, since I didn't hear any before we bring in the jury.
Just one, Judge. Yesterday during Detective Fury's testimony, the state did end up admitting Stage 115, the PowerPoint presentation. And so I hadn't given it to the court. So I did give it to Aspen for marking. I just wanted to be, our stipulation says we weren't going to.
So that stipulation should be discarded? Wasn't there?
The stipulation just said, the stipulation is still about the chain of custody. It does say in it that it wasn't going to be admitted.
Right.
But the rest of it is important and still
All right.
in place. So.
But there's a piece we're going to have to tell them to disregard. Or just cross it out or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I think we
You
can
may
just
want to
cross
just redo it so it doesn't say it wasn't admitted.
I can do that.
Okay. Anything else to address?
No, thank you, Judge.
Chance? All right. Let's bring in the jury.
Let's bring in the jury. What does the... It's Tennessee Volunteers. I bought a tumbler when I was in the US because when we sit here and you get bored, I have a tendency to not stress. I get bored drinking, and you get so much dry mouth when you're talking all the time. So it's a Tennessee tumbler. My own tumbler is smaller, but still as effective. It's not about the size; it's about the concept. Hey, Cookie Doodle. Well, I, for one, is the Ohio State fan. Go Hawkins. Jamie and I will be moving them in the milk. No, and I believe yes. No, don't know. Hydrate. Yeah. Good morning, Carly.
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. Usual questions. Did anyone learn anything about this case since retiring yesterday and going home?
Isn't it the Cornhuskers?
Seeing all.
I don't. I've heard that. I watched
Shakes
Count
of the
Dankula.
head
I
no.
heard that Hackett should be quite
Did
fine.
anybody read anything about this case? Did anybody watch any news accounts?
Well, yes. It will be on a very uncomfortable schedule for most Americans, but to make it fit in with her time schedules, she could do it at that time. So it'll be 7 or 8 in the morning my time as well. But that's how it is when you're trying to reach people all around the world. So it'll probably be more Aussie-dominated chat that day. So there'll be a lot of C words in there because that's how Aussies communicate. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. I have to root for the dogs. Who let the dogs out? Jamie did. Jamie did. Ohio is not the Cornhuskers. Celestial Force, you don't. Jamie have told me this multiple times. It is the Cornhuskers. Just focus on the upcoming Catholics week. Why don't I read stuff?
Of the case
Hey, Brandon.
since yesterday. Is there any reason why any one of you cannot continue to be a fair and impartial juror in considering all the evidence in this case?
I was actually thinking because I think I can record it then so we can do the live show. I can take it down and then do a re-live in the afternoon so I can just sit in chat and talk to you people then, but you can't interact with it. But I don't know how to do it.
And receiving shakes of the head no from all 16 members of the jury. Is the state and defense ready to begin?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, the state calls Dr. Stephen Shapiro.
solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give relative to the cause, value, and consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Hello.
Could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Stephen with a V, Shapiro, Shapiro.
How are you employed?
Currently, I'm self-employed.
What do you do as a self-employed individual?
Mostly I do autopsies still.
In the past, have you worked as a medical examiner in Vermont?
I have.
When?
I started doing autopsies up here, I believe it was 1990.
Wasn't the DNA lady yesterday called Shapiro as well? So this is probably the daughter who took over when Daddy went on pension.
I started working full-time October 2001. They made me chief in 2006. I officially retired April of 2021. And then I worked for about a year and a half on a fee-for-service for the state of Vermont.
So in October of 2021, you were doing fee-for-service for the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner?
Correct.
Before I ask you about some of those duties at the medical examiner's office, can you just briefly explain to the jury what kind of education and training one has to become a medical examiner?
Sure. Well, I did undergrad in medical school here in Vermont, graduating medical school in 1993. From there, I went to the Oregon Health Sciences University in Portland, Oregon, where I did a combined residency in anatomic pathology and clinical pathology. My last year in Oregon was spent mostly at the medical examiner's office for the state of Oregon in Portland. In July of 1998, I went to New York City, where I did a formal fellowship in forensic pathology. I stayed, I was hired on in 1999.
If I ask you tomorrow, will you say good luck to the Calhoun Yellow Jackets? We play for the state championship at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Well, I'll have to make sure it's not some kind of Smex joke like Brandon tries to make me say.
As
Yellow Jacket.
full-time city medical examiner, I was mostly stationed in the Bronx County office. And then really after the towers, I moved up here.
You mentioned that you were chief medical examiner here in Vermont. Can you explain to the jury what some of your duties were as the chief medical examiner?
Well, the Office of Chief Medical Examiner is essentially a government agency. We sit under the Department of Health. All what we do is derived by statute. It's VSA 5205. Essentially, we investigate sudden, unexpected, or violent deaths related to public health issues. Some deaths required by law, prisoners, mental institution patients. But mostly I did autopsies. We have a big public health component of our work, monitoring, deaths in Vermont. So we did a lot of that.
Yes, remind me tomorrow and I'll give them a shout out. And remember, the kicker is the most important member of the team,
Thank you.
especially in Atlanta.
Can you explain to the jury what the difference is between cause of death and manner of death?
Sure. Cause of death is an etiologically specific thing. People die of atherosclerosis, heart disease, diabetes. These are specific diseases. Baseball bats, gunshot wounds. So, I always use Abraham Lincoln as an example. If I asked you what killed Abraham Lincoln, you'd probably say he was shot in the head. That's his cause of death. Now, if I was to ask you what changed.
I'm only an Ohio State fan because Jamie said that's her alma mater. So I have to support it or I will get more beatings.
Or alters your biochemistry and physiology of having a lead projectile go through your head. You might tell me things like direct trauma, hemorrhage, shock. All these things are non-specific. Lots of things cause hemorrhages in your brain, whether they're strokes or bullets or baseball bats or aneurysms. So just saying, grandma had a brain hemorrhage doesn't really help us.
I like this guy. He makes it a little bit more interesting than just sticking to the medical dictionary. Lead through your head, baseball bat. I like him.
Find what killed grandma. So that's cause and mechanism, and manner of death essentially describes the circumstances surrounding the death. In Vermont and most of the country, we only have 5 choices. Most of us die of natural causes. And then we have suicide, intentionally taking your own life, homicide, somebody else did it, accidental deaths. And sometimes we just don't have enough information to classify the deaths in one of those categories. So we have the undetermined category.
Thank you. Approximately how many autopsies have you performed?
Honestly, I haven't kept track in a long time, but I'd say I'm around 6,000, the heavier side of 6,000.
Have you performed autopsies of individuals who have died of gunshot wounds?
Yes.
Can you estimate the number?
No, but gunshot wounds are a pretty common thing in a forensic pathology practice.
And have you been trained to determine if an injury is caused by a gunshot wound?
I have.
Were you involved in an autopsy in October of 2021
Well, he still looks
relating
like
to
a
a body
Timo
that was
and a
discovered
Warhol.
in a van in St. Albans, Vermont?
I was.
How did that occur? How did you become involved?
It was my day. When we're in the office, we usually just, at the time, we would, there was only one other associate I had, Dr. Bundock. So we pretty much split it by week. It was my week.
And how did the body arrive at the medical examiner's office?
The body arrived in a sealed trauma bag. And inside that trauma bag were, I believe it was 8 individual black garbage bags containing remains.
Were you, before I talk about details, were you able to identify that body?
We were.
Who was that?
Miss Emily Ferlazzo.
And how were you able to identify Ms. Ferlazzo?
Physical features and circumstances.
As part of the autopsy, was there any toxicology testing done to determine if Ms. Ferlazzo had any substances in her system at the time of her death?
Yes.
Were there any positive findings of significance?
I would say nothing of significance. There were some positive findings.
And what were those positive findings?
I believe there was nicotine, cotinine, a metabolite of nicotine. I think there was a little marijuana in there, and caffeine, I believe.
Did Ms. Ferlazzo have any alcohol in her system at the time of her death?
I don't have the report in front of me, but I don't believe she did, no.
If, would seeing your report refresh your recollection on that?
It would.
I'm showing you what's been marked as 113. Let me know if that refreshes your recollection.
Well, this is a copy of my autopsy report. It does not have the toxicology report attached to it.
I don't think so. Have we heard anything about that? I don't think so.
I apologize. Was anyone else present when you conducted Ms. Ferlazzo's autopsy?
There were several people there, yeah.
At the start of your autopsy, did you do anything with the 8 garbage bags before you opened them?
All of the bags were x-rayed
Were there human remains in those bags?
in some of them.
Which bags contained human remains?
It would help me if I had my report, but I believe it was bag 3 through 8.
Forward.
And do you recall what was in each bag?
Not off the top of my head, no.
When you were able to open all of the bags, was all of Ms. Ferlazzo's, well, what was in the bags?
There was a dismembered body. All the anatomic parts were there, so it was a complete body.
Did you measure and weigh the body?
Yes.
How much did the body weigh?
There's no way I'm going to remember that, Counselor.
Would seeing your report refresh your recollection?
It would. So the combined weight of all the parts we had is 128 pounds.
So just so the record is clear, could Dr. Shapiro indicate what page he's referring to in his autopsy report and that the information is coming from the autopsy report? Thank you.
So this is from my report on page 3 of 7 under the external examination. I have her as an estimated length of 5'3" and a weight of 128 pounds.
Well, they normally give them the report. You can't, because if he says, well, I had her at 120 pounds, then the defense can stand up and say, but you noted her at 125 pounds in your report. So it's not unprepared. It's her asking a stupid question, not saying, would it help your recollection to have your report, and then just get him his report so he can remember it. He's done thousands of these. Yeah, I like his attitude. He is so overdoing this, but at the same time, I'm going to serve it nice and easy so people can understand it. Well, yeah, she should have gotten it to him earlier. I don't know what training you're on, Julie, but you rock. I did traps yesterday, and Shoulders. I have weak shoulders.
Upon inspection of the body, did you observe fatal injuries?
I did.
Can you describe those injuries?
Ms. Ferlazzo had 2 gunshot wounds to her head. The entrances were on the left side, the exits on the right side. She also had multiple post-mortem after death stab wounds.
Before we talk about that, I want to talk about the gunshot wounds. And you said left side. Is that Ms. Ferlazzo's left side of her head?
It would be, and if I could have my report up here, it would make me more comfortable with this stuff. Thank you.
Hey, Sue.
Entrance wounds on the left, exits on the right.
This may seem like an odd question, but how did you know that it was 2 separate gunshot wounds?
There were 2 separate gunshot wounds.
When you're viewing a gunshot entrance wound, is there a way for you to tell whether the barrel of a gun was pressed up against the skin?
There are.
How do you determine that?
So when we talk about gunshot wounds and range of fire, how far away the barrel was from the target, really there's only 3 basic kinds. Contact wounds, and this is all based on all the other stuff besides the bullet that comes out of the end of the barrel. There's gases, there's unburnt powder, there's burning powder, there's a lot of stuff that comes out, smoke. So if the barrel is pressed right up to against the target, all that other material goes inside the body. If it's a little farther away, not up against the body, we're able to see those.
I don't know what that cracked me up. How could you tell? Because there were 2 gunshot wounds. He could just have said, "Are you an idiot? Don't you understand English?" I love this guy. I love this guy. And hey, Zach.
Particles that embed in the skin, we call that stippling. Sometimes there's smoke, fouling, and that can give us, if we go and test fire the weapon, we measure what's on the skin surface or the target surface, and then we can do test firing of the weapon to determine a range of depth. If you move past the distance where those little particles and smoke travel, we call that, even if it's only 1 inch past there, none of that stuff is on the target, and all the wounds would look alike after that, whether it's 10 feet away or 150 yards away. Because there's nothing there, and there is no way for me to determine the distance wounds. And there are other caveats involved.
Did you observe any of the stippling on Ms. Ferlazzo's
Ohio.
entrance wounds?
I did not.
You just missed a medical examiner telling the prosecution she's an idiot without saying it. That was the best. Yes, twice in the left side, out through the right side.
Would the presence of another object like fibers or cloth or clothing prevent stippling?
That was the caveat I was putting in there.
When you're viewing a gunshot exit wound, are there differences in how that appears during autopsy depending on whether the person's skin is up against an object?
There are.
And can you explain to the jury what that looks like?
So when a bullet's fired, it's spinning along like a football, a nice spiral pass. As soon as that bullet hits something, it begins to yaw or tumble. So if it'll go in with that nice spiral, it will make a nice round hole. As it passes through and it's tumbling, goes to the other end, and whether it comes out backwards, sideways, we don't know, and it lacerates. It tears the skin on the way out. If that skin on the exit wound is pressed up against something, when it lacerates out and the skin moves out, it smacks up against, and this all happens in less than a blink of an eye. It smacks up against the surface it's on, and it causes a little abrasion ring around it, which looks very much like an entrance wound.
Does the way that this looks depend on whether the object the skin is against is hard or soft?
It really just has to be a tight, something up against the skin, whether it's a wall, a chair.
Hey, Chrissy, this is about a 1-year anniversary trip to Vermont where the husband was attacked by his crazy wife. She had been nagging. Then she used a Yankee candle on him, kicked him in the gonads. He tried to de-escalate the situation, went for a walk, came home, wanted to get to bed, and when he was crawling over her to get into his spot of the bed, she pulled out a pew-pew, and he had to self-defense her twice in the head, stab her 18 times post-mortem, and cut her up to at least enough to fill 5 plastic bags. So a clear self-defense case, if I've ever seen one. But some people might say it seems a little bit like murder because he then spent the next 2 days texting that like she was still alive. He admitted to police during interrogations that he did it 1 minute and 12 seconds into the interrogation. Didn't really give a reason, but she was nagging. So Chad has decided he's innocent because women who are not frolicking will be nagging, and nagging women, it's kind of okay. I don't have that opinion, of course, but Zach has been a big proponent of more frolicking, less nagging.
Hair, a bra strap, something that holds the skin together.
So to be clear, there needs to be some contact.
Yes.
Did you observe anything with regard to the 2 exit wounds on Ms. Ferlazzo that indicated whether or not her head was laying against anything when she was shot?
Both of the
May we approach, please?
Please approach. Yeah, she asks stupid questions. At least he flipped the mattress. No one was going to notice that. Yeah, and no wet spot. He took her finger ring off, so again, he was prepared to have a new wife. Well, Grey Witch, calm down, take a few deep breaths, and just let my melodic voice rock you to sleep so you don't have to think. If his place on the bed was closest to the wall and she was on her stomach, as stated, wouldn't her GS wounds be right to left?
So Dr. Shapiro, I just have to ask you if you are going to refer to your report, which is fine, if you could just let us know that you're referring to your report and what page you're referring to.
But have they have he said that she was, because if she's pulling out a force multiplier when she's face down, that wouldn't make sense either. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I don't think I was with those last 2, but on page 4 of 7 is the descriptions of the gunshot wounds. And in the 3rd paragraph under gunshot wound of entrance, marked A, in the 3rd paragraph, on the edges surrounding the wound is an approximately 1/8 inch ring of abrasions, parentheses, short exit wound.
No, just love this guy because he told the prosecutors she was asking stupid questions without saying it. I love him.
And on gunshot wound B in the 3rd paragraph,
yes.
I described it as an approximately 1/16. There is an approximately 1/16 surrounding abrasion, parentheses, short exit wound.
So based on those observations, what were you able to conclude?
That Ms. Ferlazzo's head was against something when she was shot.
Hey, Kelly, thank you so much for the corner kiss yesterday. I forgot my phone in my bedroom. That's why I didn't hear it, but thank you so much. I put a sticker on the wall so you didn't get cheated.
Were you able to determine a manner of death for Ms. Ferlazzo?
It was.
And what was that?
It was a homicide.
We actually do that in Danish court. If you refer to an exhibit, because the defense will have the case, the state will have the case, and the judge will have the case. So you'll say, I'll read from the police report, which is Exhibit B2, and pages 5, paragraph 6 and 8. And then the judge would put it into, we call it the court book, but just into her resume of the case, so they can go back and see, okay, if there's an appeal. At this point, they were looking at that case. I actually saw an appeal case yesterday with a guy who was pro se, but the lawyer could still ask questions. Really weird. But they were just reading their previous statements. That's the same you do in Danish. They'll just read and say, blah, blah, blah. And you were asked about on this page, which says this and this, is that correct? And they will say yes. That's why I'm happy I'm not in appeal court, because it's boring.
What is the definition?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Grey Witch, but yeah, sometimes it's a big mystery. I used to work out with a girl who seemed totally fine, and then we found out one day when her long sleeves slipped up that apparently she wasn't that fine. But I hope everything will turn around.
Of homicide in an autopsy.
Really, it's a medical definition, but it's really death at the hands of another.
Were the injuries from the 2 gunshots the sole cause of Ms. Ferlazzo's death?
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about this, but I'm going to ask some specific questions. In addition to the 2 gunshot wounds, you also indicated that Ms. Ferlazzo's body had additional injuries. I'd like to talk about the stab wounds first. How many stab wounds were on Ms. Ferlazzo's body?
There was a total of 18 separate stab wounds.
Page number.
That I just added up on the front sheet, the first page, under final diagnosis 2, postmortem dismemberment and stabbing, A, chest 1, abdomen 8, back 9.
Were you able to determine whether these 18 stab wounds occurred before or after Ms. Ferlazzo died?
I was.
How were you able to determine that?
So when you stab somebody or wound somebody in any way, you disrupt the small vessels, the microvasculature. Well, sometimes you disrupt big vessels too, but there's bleeding involved. Bleeding is really a result of having blood pressure. Your heart's beating, your vessels are all having a liquid under pressure. So when those vessels are disrupted, the blood essentially squirts out and causes hemorrhage surrounding those wounds. Ms. Ferlazzo's wounds did not have any evidence of that. Vital reaction is what we call it.
Are you able to determine how long after she died those stab wounds were inflicted?
No.
Were you able to determine what type of instrument was used to inflict those stab wounds?
The stab wounds, all had similar features. Once again, I'm referring to page 5 of 7.
Before I go,
The stab wound of the chest had a blunted edge and a sharp edge. The stab wounds of the abdomen all had
front left.
sharp edges and blunt edges, and so did the stab wounds of the back. Essentially, what this is a single-edged blade. If you take a blade, one side is flat and the other side is sharp. Pretty much any knife is like that, or most single-edged knives are like that. So when it goes into the skin, you'd see there's a blunt side and a pointy, sharp side of the wound.
When examining a wound on someone's body, is it possible to determine whether it's a slice wound or a stab wound?
Yes.
And how does a medical examiner make that distinction?
So essentially, by definition, these are what we fall under sharp force or cutting injuries. Incised wounds or slices are longer on the skin surface than they are deep. Stab wounds are deeper than they are long. And in a lot of situations, there's lots of overlap.
He moved up there after the towers. He said that in his opening.
And in this case, were these incised wounds or stab wounds?
These were all stab wounds.
It was a Yankee Candle.
The one wound to Ms. Ferlazzo's chest, did that cause any other injury in her body?
It did.
What was that injury?
I'm referring to page 5 of 7 under stab wound of chest. It perforates the pericardial sac, that's the sac around the heart, and causes the 3 distinct defects of the heart.
Thank you. Can you generally explain to the jury where the stab wounds were located on Ms. Ferlazzo's abdomen? I guess to clarify, were they scattered or were they linear?
They were sort of grouped. I described them as grouped, but the group was not, very tight.
And what about on her back?
The same thing.
I'm going to ask you some questions about the dismemberment. How many pieces was Ms. Ferlazzo's body in?
You can make me count.
I love
Page
this
number,
fellow.
please.
Yep. So in bag number 3, this is on page 2 of 7, there was pretty much the left lower extremity minus the left foot. Bag number 4, same page, was Ms. Ferlazzo's head. Bag number 5 was an upper extremity and a foot. I'm on page 3 of 7 now.
May we approach?
Yeah, it's well, you can just dump them in the woods or something, but what I still don't get is how do you carve up someone in a small little toilet bath stand in an RV? I really don't understand that part of it. Because you can't lay her flat on the floor. There's no room for that. It's this big or something like that. It's like twice the size of a plain toilet. You can't do anything in there. So how the F could he carve her up in there? I still don't understand that. Yeah. Technically, we've heard this, and it is prejudice. Yeah, it is. Sweet. It's more that that's when it goes from being something you do in anger to being something calculated for me, because it takes so long to do. The crazy hair is fabulous. Men who dismember and the women who love them. Next on Donahue.
You can continue.
Just to answer the question, there were 8 parts.
Or 8 parts. No, he said he did it in the toilet.
Were you able to determine whether the dismemberment of Ms. Ferlazzo occurred before or after she died?
Self-defense.
Yes.
And what was the conclusion you reached?
This was post-mortem after death dismemberment.
Again, were you able to determine how long after she died that this dismemberment occurred?
No.
Were you able to determine what type of instrument was used to dismember Ms. Ferlazzo?
Yes.
How does one make that determination?
So this was a sharp-edged instrument making well, I won't even say that, making cuts. And then there was evidence of a serrated instrument used as well.
But it's like in that case we had here in Denmark, I talked about some time back, with this guy who picked up a girl and then cut her into 247 pieces, 37 pieces. Don't overdo it. And there was no reason. He didn't know her beforehand. He just went out trolling for a victim, unalived her, and then cut her up, and really no reason for it.
How does that manifest itself on the body?
It's hard
So
to
the
do with a
serrated
body.
lesions essentially show abrasions at the cutting edge, which correspond
Doing
to a serrated weapon. They look like serrations.
There's not that much room. Well, she
I'm
wasn't
now
tall.
going to show you what's been admitted as States Exhibit 60 and 61. Is this the type of serrated edge that could make the marks that you saw on Ms. Ferlazzo's body?
It is.
And lastly, I'm going to show you what I've marked for identification as
She was wrong.
113A.
No fire involved.
Ask if that would refresh your recollection, and I'll ask one final question.
It does. 113A is a 4-page copy of the toxicology report from National Medical Services, NMS Labs, which is the company we use for a reference lab at the office.
And does that refresh your recollection on whether Ms. Ferlazzo had any alcohol in her system at the time of her death?
It does, and she didn't.
I don't have any other questions.
Ms. Jantz, any cross-examination?
Talking about prejudicing and everything, she didn't go overboard. It was pretty quick. I don't know if who else. This is the medical guy. He's the guy who took care of the body. She didn't go that much into details. We didn't see any pictures.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Good morning, Dr.
Oh, we did see
Hello.
that picture.
So you testified this morning that that the postmortem injuries, you could not estimate how long after death these injuries may have been inflicted, right?
That's correct.
You also testified that there was no soft tissue hemorrhaging, that is have blood at the site of the injuries. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in order for that to, for there to be hemorrhaging, the blood has to have continued to flow when the injury was inflicted. Is that right?
Flow under pressure. There is gravity still works on liquid blood, but there was no evidence of vital reaction, Counselor.
And you remember my taking your deposition earlier in this case.
I do.
And we discussed this subject of how long after death you could estimate the postmortem injuries having occurred. Do you remember that?
I do.
And you mentioned that there were multiple variables that could affect how long the blood continues to flow through the body. Do you remember that?
That's correct.
Humidity was one of them, wasn't it?
Yep.
And temperature.
Temperature.
Yes. So in conditions of high humidity and
We don't know.
temperature, the fluid in the body dries up faster. Isn't that right?
I would say it's the other way. If it's moist, it will stay liquid. If it's
Yes. So in conditions of high humidity and high temperature, the fluid in the body dries up faster. Isn't that right?
I would say it's the other way. If it's moist,
Faster. Isn't that right?
I would say it's the other way. If it's moist,
Up faster. Isn't that right?
I would say it's the other way. If it's moist,
Dries up faster. Isn't that right?
I would say it's the other way. If it's moist,
The body dries up faster. Isn't that right?
I would say it's the other way. If it's moist, it will stay liquid. If it's the conditions around are dry, it tends to dry faster.
And you have no information about what the conditions at the time of dismemberment, do you?
That's correct. No.
And I did push you to estimate whether it could have been 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 hours after dismemberment, didn't I?
I don't remember exactly, but probably yes.
And you did opine that it was at least 5 minutes after dismemberment because of the lack of
Brandon's chair is slightly wet. Odd. Thank you, Brandon.
soft tissue hemorrhaging. Do you recall that?
I don't, but there was no soft tissue hemorrhaging. That would have happened pretty quickly once you stop having blood pressure and heartbeat. Yeah, I couldn't say with certainty how quickly after death that the postmortem injuries were inflicted.
Could you tell from the autopsy that you conducted whether the stab wounds were inflicted prior to the dismemberment?
I could not tell that.
So you couldn't tell what happened first?
That's correct.
So I'm just looking through your deposition testimony. And so as you sit here today,
That's horrible.
do you disagree that it could have been 5 minutes after death that these injuries may have been
Moist
inflicted?
buns.
Could be, yes.
Okay. I have nothing else, thank you.
Any redirect?
No redirect.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
That was surprisingly fast.
Does the state have any further witnesses?
We do not, Judge. Aside from fixing one of the stipulations, the state has no further evidence.
The state rests.
Yes.
The parties want to approach.
That was fast. This is what AI believes moist buns are. No, not that. Stop. I'm a pro. Share screen. I don't know. Does it look like moist buns? I should work more with AI. But yeah, that was a pretty fast. So he'll probably stop screen, present screen. He'll probably be. I don't think they have more than one witness for the defense, but who did what did I know? Can someone explain the moistness? Jamie has a saying every time she gets a little when she sees a nice fella on the witness stand, she gets a little. So that's when we had to set the clock to moist o'clock, because Jamie, she's I think she has some Spanish blood in her, as we say in Danish. It's a sexual thing.
For a moment.
Well, it'd be perfect if we could end this case today, because tomorrow is Karen Reed, and then I could get some sleep after the trial. Yeah, state rest, now bring on the truth. And normally when state rest, we do a poll.
So take about 10, 15 minute break. All right.
I don't have a lurk, sadly. Press Daddy was moist o'clock.
Did you mean that I would make my motion now, or that we would have a break before the motion? I can do either one, whatever the court wants.
So let's let Ms. George listen. This way I at least get to see Ms. Johnson again.
What does it look? Yeah, I have a stream at midnight. No, he has to take the stand, so
Judge, could we do a 5-minute bathroom break?
Why don't you take 10 minutes, gather
Thank
your
you.
thoughts, and then we'll come back to this.
Thank you.
I think he needs to be checked for diabetes, because he's running to the bathroom more than I am. No, you have to set up the lurk command. Don't you? I don't know. I don't know. It's Zach who set up the Nightbot. But I don't think I have a lurk command set up for it. Commands. There's a lurk. Sorry. Why doesn't it done? I didn't see it kick off. Ah, thank you so much, Nightbot. At least one of you like me. Plant fan is 91% as mean as Jamie. That's a high number. Oh yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Did you lead? One of them is well, they want all the materials they used and that, but they also want all the communication between the Levi's office and the crash daddies and the defense team. Why do you want that, Morrissey? Something you're afraid of? So I've been lurking. I'm assuming we're all thinking he's atheist and typical you women. This poor man was assaulted. Not just assaulted, he was assaulted with a Yankee candle. Do you know how big a Yankee candle is? And it was the green mist. Wasn't that the name of it? Someone said it. Yeah, I think it was green mist. Stephen, you have to up those numbers. He was attacked with a Yankee candle. He was kicked in el bolos. He even went for a walk, and she was nagging. She was nagging. And then she pulled out a force multiplier on him. I see at least reasonable doubt painted all over this case. I would even say, can we post after death charge her with at least the nagging part? No, it was a Yankee candle, not a votive candle. Just because you don't believe in ants doesn't mean it wasn't self-defense. Yankee candle is a large, fairly heavy glass jar. I would not want people to have. Yeah, Diane G. Yeah, we wrong pronouns. I don't know. I don't judge. I don't see color. I don't see gender. I don't have a moist. I should have that. Just to make Jamie. Well, Jamie doesn't stream with me anymore. I don't know what Jamie is today. Yeah, sadly, because of my stone face, new people come in here and say, "What? No, she's got done." Well, you claim that, but I can see the profile pic is clearly a female ant. So you women says, had to go back and watch a bit. I missed his answer and facial expression said it all because there were 2 pew-pew wounds. Wasn't it a beautiful way to tell the prosecutor, are you an idiot? I was rewatching some Jen McCabe testimony. I was thinking with all these butt dials, Canton must have a lot of lumpy butts. You know what? I of course is a virgin, but I've watched other people on movies do it a lot. I never seen anyone butt dialing doing the smacks, because what part of your anatomy do you use to unlock the phone then? How big was the Yankee candle? We haven't been shown the Yankee candle because it could traumatize him. I hope the defense will bring it in as part of the evidence. Could be up to 22 ounces. Guy was in butcher school. State got it thrown out pre-trial. Judge corrupt. He's a tattoo guy. No, she didn't rule her out. The defense had asked not to have to bring her in for a voir dire because she clearly has the provenance to be an expert. It was stupid that the state, but she still have to travel from California on Karen Reed's dime to Canton to sit in a courtroom and say, yes, I am the most of experts. The guy the defense, the state is calling is a dog behavioral expert. He has no knowledge about dog wounds, at least not in a medical way. Yes, it's the Albert way in Canton. But how? No, I haven't heard about the Seymour Butts trial. Yeah, for 22 seconds while you don't have your phone with you and you are having smacks. I'm always going to vote against the state. That's a good thing. Butt dials are a polite way of saying I have Zachary disease. My butt looks exactly like my face. That's she clearly, yeah, and she was, but they did that stupid. Why didn't you write a report? I wasn't asked to. But could you have done it? Yeah. Why didn't you? I wasn't asked to. It's like asking me back in school, why didn't you do your homework? I wasn't asked to. You actually were. Well, I didn't hear you. That was my answer. She's the most expert in the field of dog bite experting. Yes. I'm always talking about butt buns, badoingadoinks. In my part of Denmark, we call them mills. I don't know why, but it's just a thing. So, and I was told I couldn't say that to my kids. My ex-wife is from a very different place in Denmark to where I am, and they speak like rednecks. Let's just be honest. So I wasn't allowed to say just sit on the mill, because that's what we would say where I am. And I heard my daughter talk about his little mill this time. So it goes on. What if Brian called out Higgins' name during the you-know-what and his phone called Higgins? After seeing that rhino dance at the bar, I think they did more than just grab the asses. Tried to make her seem senile. Yeah, and again, remember, that's the thing I don't... All the Smurfs are sitting here saying, oh, they're going to be so great. She picked up her knowledge of the case. Was it 2 weeks into the case she saw it in the papers, and then studied it over a couple of days, and then testified about it. This time she'll have a year to prepare for a trial. Do you think she'll be a better or a worse witness with a year's preparation? Especially if she also felt disrespected by the state the last time, that they didn't recognize her expertise. Do you think she'll be better or worse on the stand for the defense? I don't know. Mr. 75K seems like an idiot. I know he's a big, powerful attorney and has done more famous cases than I have covered. That's fine. But he seems unprepared. He seems to make stupid arguments, and he seems to be Lally 2.0 without the endearing charm Lally had with his no hair and his what if anythings. Can you show your arm tattoo? Which one? I have a few. I love we can be immature on this channel. That's what we do. Dr. Russell's credentials should make her eligible to testify on so many issues with this case. She should be able to testify about the autopsy, where it sounds like a helicopter going overhead. That's normally in the summertime when people are drowning down at the sea. Autopsy, the dog bites, probably the injuries to the body. Well, that's a part of the autopsy. But she would probably have a very well-based explanation to whatever the BAC was. This lady has too much expertise. She was trying to say dog bites have evolved over the years. She's been an expert. Well, dog bites have actually devolved, because back in the day, you could use them as evidence to say that was the dog that bit someone. You can't do that today. So dog bites are dog bites. And even their own medical examiner said it could be animal bites. The angry men of Canton that check each other's oil in the basement on the next Donahue. We love immature humor. That's why we're here. So you could talk about the car. Well, it's green mist. I think it's green mist. Close their phone and you stop talking and was, where did you go? Well, I was hiding in the corner. Who's immature? Who's fighting with Nightbot? Just because I'm just saying. They haven't got anyone any near as qualified as they don't have anyone as nearly as qualified as the ARCA guys. I can't wait to see, because the state will have to give defense their experts findings as well. Oh, by the way, the one who asked about, I have Lady Justice on this arm and the goddess Freya on that arm. Freya and her 2 cats, if that's the ones you talked about. I'm ready for Zack and Nightbot 1-on-1. Well, Zack already lost. Do you think the state will change anything in the Karen Reed case? Yes. I think they'll get away from the Aruba thing. I think they'll get away from all the... Well, they won't get away from all the crazy ex-girlfriend BS, but I don't think they'll waste as much time, because they were a laughingstock with all the... I still believe, and this is my personal opinion, I have no special knowledge. My team of 5 haven't given me this knowledge, but I still believe charges will be dropped. I've said that ever since it ended up in a hung trial, because murder in the 2nd degree is just so hard to prove, because you can't prove malice in this case. Well, they can try and say, well, there's malice in the voice recordings, but then you'll have the problem that every witness you have to put her at the scene lied in their testimony or misremembered. So Jen heard her at the scene 14 minutes after she left, and she was only texting him when she was watching Karen's car outside. So that doesn't make sense, because Karen's car wasn't there. I think they should, if I would do something from the defense, I would stop bringing all of these third party. I wouldn't spend that much time about anyone, but I would beat Jen to death on the stand in Minecraft, of course. Why are all your testimony this inconclusive? Why is it all changing? And when she starts with I would go back and say, you didn't answer the question. In your grand jury testimony, you stated. In the previous trial, you stated. Why have you again changed your testimony? You could raise a lot of reasonable doubt there and put Jen McCabe as a person with a special knowledge. But I believe some Friday night around 4:55 in the afternoon, charges 1 and 3 at least will be dropped, or the entire case, because they don't believe that blah blah blah, and Brennan is brought in to be the guy to do it, so Lally can continue his career and end up being the next Morrissey. That's what I think. The defense can also call Trooper Paul. Yes, they can. The problem is, and I said that when the case ended the last time, and all the Smurfs said, "Oh, Karen is done." No, because the state's case is never going to improve, but the defense's is, because now they know all the cards the states have. The state is out there. Oh, we're going to do new measurements. We're going to do new. Yeah, send it by the ARCA guys to have it vetted, instead of someone who was told how the crime scene looked, never checked it himself. And no, he didn't claim he was a crime scene whisperer. It was a funny joke, but he just said, I was told by some other people, because he never went to the crime scene. Well, that would still be malice, because she chose to become drunk.
All right, back on the record in State versus
Being drunk isn't
Plaza,
a
21
defense.
CR 8967. Take a bathroom break and a collect thoughts break. Ms. Jantz, do you have any motions?
Yes, thank you, Judge. I move under Rule 29 for a judgment of acquittal.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Okay, any argument you wish to make or no?
Yes, let me turn my ears back on. I apologize, Judge. Give me 1 second.
Did she say
The
she
state
turned
has
her
failed
ears
to
back on?
prove. Mr. Ferlazzo is charged with first-degree murder. The elements are that it was he, that he caused the death of Emily Ferlazzo, that the killing was unlawful, that it was willful, premeditated, and deliberate. In this case, we heard testimony by Mr. Ferlazzo in his interview with the police that that he was overcome by rage. Oh, he was hot, he lost focus, blurry, a wave came over him. These are indications of passion or provocation. Therefore, I think that there is sufficient evidence that's already been admitted to the court that Mr. Ferlazzo was overcome by passion or provocation. That would make this not a first-degree murder case. And the state has failed because it's their burden once there's testimony of passion or provocation to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
It's not about being the best attorney. It's about being the guy who knows most people and who's connected and willing to suck enough. That's how stuff like this works in a political world.
The absence of passion or provocation. There are, according to according to Belaski, 4 things to establish provocation. Adequate provocation, I believe, has been shown. Inadequate time to regain self-control or cool off. I anticipate the state's argument is that Mr. Ferlazzo said that.
Jamie!
Hi!
Did you hear the medical expert? When does blood stay? When does blood stay fluid longer?
Oh, stop it. I was lurking because I'm trying to get some work calls taken care of before I came on with you, and you kept playing Moist over and over again, and I wanted to punch you through the screen. I yelled out loud, Baker, stop it!
Mads, I was just thinking the same. It has to be deliberate if you're claiming self-defense. And now he's saying, well, I was overcome with passion. That's not self-defense. Yeah, Jamie's here. Now we can start. Everyone, we're going back to the start.
No, don't do it.
When it's moist. Zach is 24% as mean as Jamie. Well, she's a defense lawyer. She has to do it. It's her job. Like it's Jamie's job to yell at me.
Yeah.
He waited 5 to 10 minutes after he was attacked by Emily before he shot her. There's no testimony that that was enough time to cool off. No testimony whatsoever. The third is that there was actual provocation, and he's testified to that. And that the fourth is that there was an actual failure to cool off.
Isn't it the jury's determination of whether the provocation was so great as to create heat of passion that would not justify but reduce the killing from, and usually, by the way, the instruction given is usually for second-degree murder, because the case law is pretty clear that if you find premeditation and deliberation, you necessarily are not finding great. So I'm sure that's a discussion we're going to have later on when we deal with the jury.
I'm prepared to address that, Judge, in State v. Yo, which was charged as a first-degree murder case.
Right.
The instructions included not only second-degree murder, but voluntary manslaughter.
That's right.
And so it's not, Belaski was a second-degree murder case.
No, I'm not suggesting you may not have a voluntary manslaughter charge here. And the instruction you're wanting for the second-degree murder, I think case law may suggest that
especially
that really
we
is
have
a second-degree murder charge, not a first-degree,
diverse group of people here, and I'm one of them, of course.
Defense lawyer
was
who
a Yankee
properly
candle
said
involved.
that there's an inverse relationship between premeditation and deliberation and great provocation and sudden passion. But in any event, that will figure out later.
Judge.
Well, he did tend to his junk. He then went out for a walk, came back, and then she was still nagging. Again, clearly it was provoked.
Clearly, guys. Baker's never wrong.
Jamie, what was it sea mist or green mist, or what was the flavor of Yankee candle that someone said, if it's that, I totally understand it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
My
remember.
motion for judgment of
Alright,
acquittal is based on the fact that there was testimony by Mr. Ferlazzo in the admitted state's exhibit of his videotaped interview with the police, that he was under great passion and provocation, and there was no testimony introduced to rebut that in any way, much less beyond a reasonable doubt. That's my motion
Okay.
for
I
judgment of
appreciate,
acquittal.
so it's largely on the premeditation / deliberation pieces as
Pink
compared
Sands,
with great
was it Pink Sands?
provocation.
Might be.
Is that,
That's right.
Ms. George, did you want to respond?
Just
Ooh, I wanna
briefly,
smell
Judge, I
pink
think that the
sands.
state's
Sounds amazing.
perspective of the evidence is that there was no provocation. By Mr. Ferlazzo's own words, there was certainly not adequate provocation. There was, by his own words, more than adequate time to cool off.
Evergreen mist smells like
He
Christmas.
first said 10 to 15 minutes, but even giving him the benefit of the doubt, 5 to 10 minutes is more than enough time from the state's perspective, at least for the jury to find that there was adequate time for him to cool off. There was no actual provocation. In his statement, he multiple times says that he was sitting there and she was trying to unfurl his piece, and that he was listening to the rain, and then he decided enough is enough. And not only got up and immediately just killed her, he got up from the couch, he walked over to the closet, he got his gun out, he grabbed a throw pillow, he jumped on the bed, he put the throw pillow over her face after she said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then he not only shot her once, but he shot her twice. I think from the state's perspective, those are all really clear evidence that this was not provoked, and that he had time to cool off, and he made a very clear decision, and in his own words said that it was the worst decision, but that he made a decision to stop her.
I think she
Thank
said
you.
peace, like no peace.
The court will
like in
deny
heaven.
the motion. As parties know, this on Rule 29, you take the evidence in the case in most
Don't you dare,
favorable to
Ballstorm.
the state. You don't consider modifying evidence at that time.
Yeah, but not all of us.
In terms of just
even with a
because
candle.
voluntariness of this confession has been assessed, neither party is arguing that for purposes of this motion, but I will note for the record that the statement clearly Mr. Ferlazzo immediately says he wishes to talk to Detective Boris after Detective Boris and I've seen it done very differently, very carefully goes over his Miranda rights with him. Frankly, the court was impressed with the time he took to do that. And Mr. Ferlazzo making it very clear, he said, "I want to talk to you. Let's not beat around the bush." So from a voluntariness, I think that, again, I just want to put that out, that certainly there's been sufficient evidence shown from which a jury could find beyond a reasonable doubt that the confession is voluntary. Because I think I have to address that since both parties discussed
I'll be right
the
back.
statements that Mr.
Okay.
Ferlazzo made to Detective Boris. And then, of course, he admits we have to prove in a first-degree murder that it was Mr. Ferlazzo who caused the death of Emily Ferlazzo. That's not disputed. He shot her twice in the head, that it was unlawful. Shooting someone twice in the head while they're lying down would be unlawful. That it was willful, that there was intent to do it. He stated he had had enough, and he shot her. And the question is premeditation and deliberation, which is the focus of a first degree versus a second degree and or manslaughter instruction. And for premeditation and deliberation, they're independent concepts, but obviously integrated. Deliberate is the ability to think and process and something, and premeditation is to have a plan beforehand. That's very simplistically said, but that's the interaction between the two. Neither can be, that deliberation and premeditation can occur over the course of months, or can occur over the course of seconds, at least as the Supreme Court has thus far noted and as restated in many courts throughout the country. And so in this case, the evidence of premeditation and deliberation is Mr. Ferlazzo's own words, that he had had enough, that he felt Emily was going to ruin his life, and he didn't think it was going to stop. We don't know exactly what she was saying while she was lying in bed, but his words were that she had stopped fighting with me, was lying in bed. And when I determined enough is enough, I went to the closet, retrieved my Glock. Certainly, that can be a plan to get that can be deliberation. How am I going to do it? And he gets his Glock. Apparently, he gets a red pillow that may have been on the couch. Another red pillow was there, goes over to her, puts the pillow over her face. And after she says something to the effect, "You've got to be fucking kidding me," he shoots her twice in the head. That is a plan. That is deliberation, or at least it could be thought to be. Obviously, there are defenses to that, Ms. Jantz, but as you know, that's for a jury to decide whether either the event occurred too quickly to reduce it potentially to second degree, or there was such great provocation for a jury to think such provocation was justified to the extent of reducing the charge either from first or second degree to voluntary manslaughter. But that's a jury determination. Certainly, there's significant evidence from which to find that there was premeditation and deliberation. What no one has discussed yet is the very deliberate efforts he made very soon after the death of Emily to cover up what had occurred. But it could be argued, and I won't go through all of that because I'll leave that to argument later on, but a systematic effort to cover up the death once it occurred. Again, the state and defense may have very different theories as to why that was done, what was going through his mind. But for purposes of a Rule 29 motion, there is sufficient evidence from which, again, a jury could find that those steps further support premeditated and deliberate conduct, and certainly intent on the part of willfulness on the part of Mr. Ferlazzo, another element of first-degree murder. So for those reasons, we will deny the state's motion for a judgment.
I understand the court's ruling and reasoning. I do object to the court's conclusion and ruling, and also note that there has been no testimony concerning a motive for any post-mortem injuries, none whatsoever. And so attributing those injuries to a state of mind is not supported by the record.
Well, he did say he was going to take the body and place it, bury it in the woods, I assume. And one could infer that it's easier to bury if they're separate parts.
My understanding is that he actually tells the police that he cut her up so it was easier to carry her.
Neither of those statements indicate the reason behind the dismemberment. I hear your argument, and I appreciate your effort. Thank you.
I just think the inference can be drawn that it was done for the purpose of burying the body. And again, I won't go into other things that may support that, because I think that's really better left for argument of the parties.
And for the jury to determine.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this fairly minimal but sufficient, so as not to suggest any argument to the state, and certainly more so to protect the defense from any argument I might introduce to the state. So with that, are we ready to proceed? Is the defense planning on having a case today?
Yes, thank you, Judge. Is the court going to ask Mr. Ferlazzo if he intends to testify?
Yeah. Mr. Ferlazzo, what choice have you made in that regard? You understand it's completely your choice, obviously done with advice of counsel. You have an absolute right not to testify if you don't want to, and the court, if requested, would instruct a jury. It could not use that against you in any way. You also have an absolute right to testify if that's your choice.
Yes, I do want to testify.
Okay. Then are we ready to bring the jury in?
Yes.
Was it tonight, Jamie?
Yeah, of course.
I turned on, you can't see it. I turned out 2 lights I bought last Christmas. I thought, oh, let me make it a little cozy in here. Then I came back in here after talking on the phone and thought, it smells like chlorine. I'm not sure that's a Christmas smell.
You need to get some actual Christmas lights and hang them in the back. That would be fun.
Yeah, but it'll mess up with the camera because I'll try to constantly adjust the brightness. That's why I don't have the LGB lights like every other professional streamer. I'm not that smart.
Please be seated, everyone. All members of the jury are present. The state has rested. Does the defense wish to present a case, Ms. Jan?
Yes, thank you. We call Joseph Ferlazzo.
Okay.
Joseph Ferlazzo.
Oh, here we go.
Now we're going to learn all about how mean this woman was. She was the Jamie of Vermont.
Oh my gosh.
Solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give relative to the cause now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Morning.
Good morning.
What's your name?
Joseph Ferlazzo.
Joseph Ferlazzo?
Yes,
You're the defendant in this case, correct?
correct.
So Joseph, we're going to take things one subject at a time, okay?
Very good.
How are you feeling this morning?
Very nervous, very anxious, very tired. Yeah,
Okay. Reach a point where you feel you need a break, let us know, please.
yes.
So let's start with some easy information. Where were you born?
I was born in Pennsylvania, in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Is that where you grew up?
Yes, that is where I grew up. I was there until I think maybe 11 or 12 years old.
Everybody hear him?
Can you hear me?
We can't hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Better.
Now we just need your lawyer to find her microphone.
When did you move to Vermont?
I moved to Vermont in 2012.
Were you working as a tattoo artist at that time?
Hey, Holly.
Yes, I was.
And we're caught up. Come on.
Hey, Holly.
When did you meet Emily?
I met Emily in 2018.
And to be clear, we're talking about Emily Ferlazzo, who was your wife, right?
Yes.
How did you meet her?
Well, I had initially met her through her friend Lauren. I can't remember her last name. Lauren. Yes.
What were the circumstances?
The circumstances were I was teaching Lauren. She was serving a piercing apprenticeship. She was apprenticing to be a body piercer.
And you were giving her lessons on
Right.
how to do that?
That's correct. Yes, she was. She was apprenticing under me to learn how to do all body piercings.
How many Prince Alberts have you done?
And was Emily with her?
So when Lauren was preparing to start working with clients, she had a sort of a nervous disposition, and it made it so that she was very shaky. And she looked visually like just to see her, she looked like uncomfortable holding a needle. It was a very shaky hand, and I was like telling her how
That is what they do most of the time. Nips and tips.
working with the shop's clientele wasn't going to happen until she was more comfortable. So I suggested to have some friends, people that she was more comfortable around, and
What do you mean?
in hopes that she would stop shaking and would be able to do a nice, steady, precise piercing.
So let me make sure I understand what you just said.
Yeah.
Were you suggesting to her that she do a piercing on somebody she knew?
Exactly, yes, a close friend or someone that she felt comfortable with. So
Okay. And who was that person?
it was Emily.
And that's how you first met her?
That's how I first met her, yes.
And did you have any kind of extended conversation with Emily at that point?
In the beginning of the piercing procedures, it was all business. Really just instructing Lauren where to mark, how to prep the skin, things to look for.
No, he doesn't have an earring on. He had those big spaces in, and they'll never close up. So I think it's because he had those spaces in. It looks like he has an earring in.
Our conversation, my conversation with Emily, didn't occur until after all of the piercings had been completed, and then the mood sort of changed a bit. It was a little more relaxed, and everyone could just sort of like chop it up, just chat with each other, and we had started talking, and she was awesome. So we talked for a while, and when she left, I made a comment to Lauren. I said that I was like, that friend of yours is something special. I said I wouldn't mind making her my next ex-wife. Lauren laughed.
Oh,
You
that's
didn't
so
start dating her
romantic.
at that point,
No,
did you?
no. I think she was seeing somebody else, and I was seeing somebody else. But we definitely hit it off.
Okay. So how did it come about that you met Emily again?
I'll be updating my Tinder profile. Hey, girl, I'd like to make you my next ex-wife if I don't make you into pieces.
Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, chopping it up isn't the word you're saying in this case.
I had moved to Maine for a little while in 2019. And when I moved back to Vermont in 2020, and I contacted Lauren
Why?
requesting, hang out and see what she was doing, see where she was at with things, how her piercing had progressed, and was curious. I had tattooed her before. I was curious if she wanted any more artwork, or if we would just like hang out, do a kickback, and spend time.
Okay, you contacted Lauren, and
Yes.
did that result in you connecting with Emily?
Well, Lauren was excited. She said, "Oh my God, I would love a new tattoo. I want one. As a matter of fact, I'm talking to my sister who wants one, and I'm talking to Emily who also wants one. So, like, we're all excited. So if you can tattoo us, like, yeah, please, like, come and tattoo us." So that's what happened.
When was that?
That was early summer, late spring. I'm not exactly sure of the month, 2020. April, May, June time period.
Okay, so that's when you reconnected with Emily,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And what happened with Emily after that in connection with you?
Well, I had done that piece of art for her, and I want to say it was maybe a week and a half, or not even 2 weeks later, that I don't know if I messaged her. She messaged me. I'm not sure on that, but what I do know is that she wanted to have more tattooing done. She's like, "Oh my God, like, I really love this tattoo, like,
Oh my God.
and now I want more." Which leads me to think that she contacted me. But yeah, so that's what happened approximately. Like I said, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, she's back getting more tattoos. I'm asking her how she's been in the last.
Well, he has to do it because he's claiming self-defense, and so far nothing has aligned with self-defense. I love the part of putting a pillow over her head to self-defense her, because that really shows that he had forethought to do it.
2 weeks, how her tattoo healed. Her demeanor was different. She told me she had just broken up with her boyfriend. She dyed her hair a different color. She was extremely flirty.
Yeah, yeah, he's talking like, yeah, you can understand why he's hanging out with 22-year-olds because he talks like he's very immature. It's weirdo.
And I was receptive to that. I was like, wow, like you really seem like pretty open today. Like, and I asked her if she wanted to go have a motorcycle ride and see a tour of some of Vermont.
And did she?
Yes, she did. Yes, we took a motorcycle ride that evening. Went through the canyon, went through some of the areas down in middle Vermont, and then I returned her. She was staying with Lauren had a boyfriend named Sam at the time, and she was staying at I think it was the place that Sam was renting. So I returned her to Sam's place.
Where were you living?
I was staying with friends. I was bound.
Sandy, no reason to go back. This guy claims self-defense. He was married for a year to a woman half his age. He got into her pantyhose by saying, "You look like my next ex-wife." So you can tell she's a quality woman. And then they went on a trip to Vermont. She was nagging, attacking him with a Yankee candle, kicking him in the gonads. So he did the only thing that's reasonable to do, put 2 rounds in her face, stabulated her 18 times, and cut her up in 6 major pieces, I think it was. But now he's going to tell us how all of it was her fault, which it was because she was nagging.
Around. I had just come back from Maine, like I said, and I was bouncing between my friend Spencer Lemon's house, which everyone met a couple days ago. You guys met Spencer Lemon's. So him and my friend Sarah, who's in the court today, I was staying with her. My friends were hospitable, and they let me couch surf a bit until I got back on my feet.
By which you mean establishing your practice as a tattoo artist so that you could support yourself. Is that?
That's right. Yes. Rent is expensive in Vermont for anyone here who rents. So I had to get my finances secure so I could, regain my independence.
So after that night, when did you see Lauren? Excuse me, I keep saying Lauren. Emily next.
The next day.
How did that come about?
Well, after I dropped her off and I returned, I believe I was staying with my friend Sarah at the time. And as I said, I returned to Sarah's and I texted Emily to let her know that I had arrived safely. She asked me why.
It's to the defense lawyer is doing this to kind of try to build a rapport with the jury, to try to get him to relax, talk about everything. If she just went in and said, "That day, did you chop her up?" So it's kind of a way to humanize him towards the jury. I don't think she's doing a bad job. She's working very hard with what is it? If you use dog shit, you can't make a cake. But she's doing her best to polish a turd. So I just wish you could use a microphone.
I did not kiss her. And I said, "There's always tomorrow." And then we saw each other the next day. And I believe, so she had gone over to Lauren's. Lauren was living with her parents. So Emily was staying with Lauren's parents. And we went, hung out, strolled around their property. They had like a hammock. We like sat in the hammock and just like watched the sun go down. Just talked, smoked a little marijuana, and just relaxed and hung out.
And after that, Did you continue to see Emily?
Yes, yes, I did. Almost every day, almost every single day for the rest of,
Her life.
well, yeah, the whole rest of the summer. Technically Emily was living in New Hampshire with her parents, but she would visit Vermont. Like I said, almost every single day. So she would either stay with Lauren or Sam, or she would get a hotel room, or she would stay with me if I would be staying at my friend Spencer's house. So the rest of the summer we were together.
You were together.
Yeah, it was very magnetic. Like we were stuck to each other.
Magnetic?
Magnetic.
And how would you describe your relationship besides magnetic?
Euphoric.
You were happy?
I was happy.
Why?
We just clicked. I feel like we were both just kind of traveling the same wavelength.
So she's was a good bit younger than you, right?
That is correct.
Did the age difference ever become an issue in your relationship?
If it was an issue, it was really just two onlookers, our friends, some of our friends had opinions about relationships with an age difference. But to me personally, no, I did not have an issue. We got along very well, and I just told my friends, like, it is what it is. Like, it's going good, so.
Everything was good.
Right.
And did there come a point where you and Emily decided to get married?
Yes.
How
Yes.
did that happen?
Well, that happened at the end of the summer. I want to say it was somewhere around August. There was fun.
Well, it does. It has the legal age limit. It does have a limit.
Finally enough money in the account to afford first, last, and security, and we found an apartment. Actually, she found the apartment. We were looking at several places, and then she had just out of happenstance just found an ad that was recently put on. She called the number. The guy was like actually there. He's like, "I'm here right now. Just come over right now." We just sort of fell into it, and we liked the place. And I said, if you lived in Vermont, we could definitely see each other a lot more. You wouldn't have to travel back and forth to New Hampshire. And she jumped at it. So we moved in together in August. The place was in Essex.
He took
And then
people.
I want to say it was maybe a month into living there. It was like September. I don't exactly remember what I was doing, or if I had stepped out, or if I had just come back, or if I was working with someone. And then I just remember I came into the kitchen and she had this look on her face, and I was like, "What's going on with you?" And she breaks out into this huge smile, and she pulls out this ring and a card. And she hands me the ring, and I read the card, and it says, "Will you marry me? Check yes or no." And there's two check boxes with a yes and a no next to them. And then I look up, and she's like filming me. And I took the card, and I checked yes, and it was the cutest thing. Yeah, I said yes, and
No, that wasn't the cutest thing. That's something underage, well, not underage, but an unstable, not acting her age person does. You're freaking 40 years old. You've been married before. It's fun to rummage around with a young'un and feel young sometimes. But come on, dude. That's not cute. That's not the cutest thing ever. That's borderline psycho. And you should be, with your age, the one who tells her, well, you're so funny, but I really hate some people. Yeah, they were children. Yeah, middle school stuff.
That was my first time ever being proposed to, so
So you were happy?
I was happy.
And did she seem to be happy?
Yes, she was.
And during these first few months of your relationship, what I've already asked you, you said it was euphoric and you were both happy, right?
Yes, that's right.
What's the matter? You're looking a little,
Yeah, I'm feeling very emotional right now.
Yeah, you should.
what's bothering you?
I miss her.
You shouldn't have shot her in the face.
Let me know when you're ready to start again.
I'm okay.
You're okay?
I'm okay.
So you said that
Yes.
in September,
In September,
you and she decided to get married.
that's right.
And when did you get married?
We got married on October 10th, 2020.
We got
Um,
married in the field.
So what had happened
Other
is
than a Brussels sprout.
we sat down and had a conversation about what dates we thought were going to work. And after the conversation, I reached out to a friend of mine by the name of Teresa, who was an ordained minister. And when I messaged Teresa, I said, "Hey, can I call you?"
Yeah, but you were smart enough to say, well, it was fun. It's kind of like having a fast car. You know, it's only for a while, and then you have to have something where you don't have to sit crouched up like that because we're getting older. We need to get into a car, not up of a car, because I couldn't drive a sports car with my fat ass and my bad back. You can have fun, but fun has to end because someone has to be the grown-ups.
Can we talk? So I call her and I ask her if she'd be interested in marrying Emily and I. And she said that she would happily do it. And I told her the dates, and she's like, "Yeah, like that's a couple of weeks away. Like let's go for it." So we did. We got married
Where?
in Burlington.
Well, we've seen the photo, your wedding photo.
Yes, I saw it. Was it yesterday or? Since all this happened, I haven't been able to remember her. And that was like one of the first times that I saw that picture, and
How did it make you feel?
it hit hard. But yeah,
Why did it hit you so hard?
we were so happy. And you know, you had said something to me the other day about our lives have a trajectory, and standing on that dock.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. This is a non-responsive answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to allow it.
Thank you. You can, standing on that.
Yeah, standing on that dock and looking at where I am now, like it just makes me very emotional.
Well, what emotions does it arouse in you?
Sadness and depression and
She has to make him feel soft and gentle.
just pain,
Cross will be
heartache.
hitting him in the face.
Yeah.
True
Okay.
that.
So you got married.
Yes,
in
we did.
Burlington.
Yes, we got married in Burlington.
Looked from the photo that you were down at the waterside?
We were actually, we had snuck out onto one of the floating docks and we were in Lake Champlain. And we had a small ceremony. It was Teresa, Emily, myself, and Lauren.
That was it.
That was it.
Okay. And I think you said you had rented the apartment in Essex.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So how did things go with your relationship after you got married?
It was pretty normal stuff.
Other than
From
the sprout.
from the
To
summertime,
stop you because normal is different for each person.
normal is different from person to
So-
person.
What do you mean? It was
So-
normal stuff.
Well, in the summertime, when we started seeing each other, both of us were working a lot less. And then as it came into fall, she had gotten a job at UVM as a CNA, and she was working more, and I took the opportunity to work more. And
And let me just stop you. Were you working at a tattoo shop at this point or working self-employed?
I was self-employed, and
So where did you do the tattoos?
I did tattooing at the apartment in Essex. It was very large, and one of the rooms had lots of big windows. So it was a great room to set up as a studio.
Did there come a time when surveillance camera was installed in that room?
Yes. After some time of Emily observing me working with clients, she thought it would be a good idea if she were to get a ring,
A ring camera?
for the studio room.
Why?
Well, to keep an eye in case anything happened, if anyone were to like pass out, or if I was to flirt with a client, or
She wanted a ring cam in the studio if someone passed out or if I was flirting with a client.
He could have just said because she wanted to watch him.
What if any help would it be that she was on a ring camera if someone passed out? Couldn't he just take his mobile phone and if they fell and hit their head? People pass out in the tattoo parlor a lot. I've been in the tattoo chair more than I don't know how many hours so far. I probably have more ink in my body than I've ever put on a school paper. And I've seen it. I've seen people get woozy. I've seen all kinds of people almost start crying before they got the first little prick of the needle. She can't do anything he can't do, which is to tell them, stay calm, put your heads between your legs and breathe. And if they fall off the table, take your mobile phone, call the 911 and said, someone fell. So what she wanted was to keep a watch on you because she was jealous. Is that that's the only reason to get that ring camera installed in there? And if you're piercing body parts, is that legal to have a ring that automatically stores it on a server?
I mean, I don't know in that sense.
Because that could be kind of a problem. Yeah, that's some parts are just weird. Of course we are, because he took an oath he's not going to lie today. But it's again. Every tattoo parlor I have been in has cameras. Yeah, but they have cameras as security. my tattoo parlor has that as well, but they are pointed at the windows and the door. They're not pointed at the chair we're getting tattooed in, because I've also seen a lot of underboobs and stuff like that being done.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's great to be there when an underboob is being done. Sometimes it's not as great. But I think it's the same with you ladies. Sometimes it's nice to see a guy get a chest piece. Sometimes it's like me.
Oh my gosh.
Say something got stolen on a bathroom break, just, reasons for having a security, like a surveillance camera.
Okay, so I interrupted you. You said that you and she both started working more.
Right.
And in terms of your relationship, how did it go?
Well, so our relationship started out, as a lot of relationships do, and it was more of just like a verbal contract, right? And by that, I mean, like, what we're going to do, what we're not going to do. I apologize for Yeah.
interrupting. I'm specifically asking if your relationship continued as happy as it was in the beginning.
Well, I think what I'm getting at is the relationship had changed a little bit from when I met her, I was polyamorous, and then she asked me to be monogamous, and I said that I would be monogamous with a polyamorous clause. After the
geez.
monogamy had run its course, then we would just switch to polyamory.
Were you monogamous for the most part during your marriage with Emily?
I was monogamous
I don't judge, but if you want to be
for
polyamorous,
the duration of
in a
the
relationship,
summer
bang people.
of 2020, and when we started seeing other people is when we switched over to a polyamorous relationship.
So let me ask you this. Was this polyamorous, monogamous, a source of tension between you and Emily?
Well, the source of tension was that with polyamory, you have to be very communicative. Like, you have to talk to each other. I'm going to be here with so and so. I'm going to be there with so and so, right? Like, just who I'm going to be with, where I'm going to be. Just safe practices all around. Using protection so everyone can, stay in good health.
It sounds like this is not something Emily would have chosen, correct?
Well, I want to say that it was her idea to be monogamous, because she did say to me, I don't want to share you and I don't want you to share me, which I said, that's only going to last so long until you find someone that you're interested in. And then.
Did you though?
That's such a beta statement. Well, I can't keep you interested in me for long enough. Well, then, brother, maybe keep your dick out of every mailbox on the road and try. It works sometimes. Mine didn't work, not because I was polyamorous, and I have no proof that the rumors I've heard was true. But my mom and dad did it for 42 years, and it worked fine. No problem. You can be polyamorous for a long time as long as you're willing to invest in your partner. But the problem is you like them young and dumb. And you can probably fool them into your bed for like a couple of months when they think, oh, he's such an amazing older man and he can get me tattoos. And F you, daddy, I'm going to get tattoos on my nip-naps, and I'm going to show the world that I'm a free, young, spirited woman. And 2 months later, when she finds out, oh, daddy didn't pay my credit card, I'll better go home to him again. His relationship ends. But he's the typical guy who goes out and try to hook up with a young girl with daddy issues because he can't handle being in a relationship with a woman, says the man who's been single forever. What? Who?
What?
I will find someone that I'm interested in, and then we'll just have, whether it's group interactions or if it's separate interactions.
Putting aside this tension that may or may not have existed about the sexuality of your and Emily's relationship,
Right.
No, it's well, it is, but they it's a new word they invested for people who can't keep their dick out of other people, or women who wants a beta male to have at home, but she wants that big burly guy to just give her a good pipe laying now and again. Then they're not cheating on their partner; they're just in a polyamorous. It means I can love more than one at a time. Yeah, probably some people can, but be real. Most of those relationships, you have the comfort at home, and then you have that big old dick that you can go get out in town once or twice when you need it, because you like the comfort, but you also like a real man. And then you invented polyamory, so it didn't sound like you were just a hoe bag or a male slut bag.
How did the rest of your relationship go with her?
Well, there was obvious flaws to the communication breakdown, and it started to spur arguments. I left my device open for her to see who I was talking to.
Your phone?
My phone.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it led to it led to violence and
Explain what you mean.
like
by
physical abuse started coming into our relationship, where she would go through my phone and then respond by beating on me.
Do you remember the first time that may have happened?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about that, please.
Well, I put my phone on the charger, and she invited me to watch a season of whatever show that she was binging, so that we would sort of both be versed in the show and we could sort of talk about it. So I said, "Yeah, I'll watch this show, and we'll talk about it later." So she wandered off and took my phone, gave it an examination, and when she came back from the examination, I was still sitting in a chair in front of the television, and she walked up to me and she threw my phone, and it hit me in the side of my face. And I turned to look at her, and she just started in with like a flurry of like punches, just hitting me in my head. And
Closed hand?
yeah, closed fists.
What side of your head? Both fists?
She was on my right side. Yeah, both fists. Yeah.
So first she threw your phone at you and it hit you in the head?
Right here.
What did you do?
I was shocked. It was the first time that I've ever seen that side of her. So, and then the punches started coming in. So I just naturally like defend myself. I block the punches, and I sort of find my way out of the chair, and she wasn't stopping. So I had to physically like catch her arms, and I had to hold her arms by her sides until she sort of ran out of steam, just restraining her.
Was she saying anything to you while this was happening?
Yeah, just really, she was really angry. So, you're a fucking asshole. I don't want to, do I have to swear? Do I have to
I want
quote?
you to say what she said.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she would say, you're a fucking asshole. I can't believe you're still fucking talking to this bitch. You told me you were going to stop talking to her. And it was a friend of mine that I'd known for years. And I told her that I would stop being physical with this friend, and that our relationship wasn't going to dissolve because we were friends since 2014. Like, just with respect to the monogamy that Emily had requested, I stopped being physical with her.
So Emily was saying that she was angry. Was she angry?
Yes, she was. Yes, she was very angry. Yes, she was assaulting me.
So she was verbally angry
Yes.
and physically
Yes, ma'am.
hitting you.
Yes, physically.
And did you ever hit her back?
No, ma'am.
So you took her by the arms.
Yes.
And did she calm down?
Yes. After a bit of time, she had calmed down, and when she finally stopped yelling, I opened up communication to tell her that I wasn't continuing a sexual relationship with Victoria, like I had previously said, that it was strictly friendship, only platonic, and there was no reason for her to be upset. Like, her and I were very physical. We were always together. Like,
Who are you talking about?
Emily, yeah,
You and
like
Emily were very
Emily and I had there was no issues where I wanted to, at that moment, like at that time, like I didn't want to be with anybody else.
Okay. And did you ever talk to her at this time, at this instance, about the fact that she had thrown your phone at you and hit you? Did you ever talk about that?
Oh, yeah, actually, yes. I said that, I did. I said that, it's not okay. Like, I don't hit you, so please don't hit me. Like, I grew up in a household where hitting happened, and I don't want to continue that. And her and I had talked about bringing children into our relationship, so I thought that domestic abuse definitely needed to be like cut out of the equation.
What did she say?
Well, she had apologized after some time for her harsh reaction, and we had gotten together and sort of made up, physically, emotionally. I think that we got to a place where it didn't happen again, for some time.
How long is some time? A week, a month?
It was probably a good month, or maybe even a month and a half.
We saw some text
And I
messages.
forgot to ask you, approximately when did this incident happen?
No, and again, there are violent girls, there are violent boys in relationships all over the place. The way to handle that is to say, stop, no more. Yes, sometimes you have to physically restrain people to not hit you. Then you say, that's not okay. If this continues, I'm leaving you. And if they do it again, you leave them. You don't say, well, I'm going to, let's talk about bringing kids into the world, and then I'm going to pew you in the face. You are twice her age. You're a grown-up man. You're physical stronger. You restrained her and said, this won't happen again. If you can't abide by my polyamorous relationship rules, we shouldn't be in a relationship. I will make the decision to leave you. Even though I love you, I can't give you what you want, which is a one-woman man. I am like the town bicycle. I'd like to have every cowgirl ride on me. And then you leave. You don't take her to Vermont and pew her in the face and cut her up. People effing grow up. Take some effing responsibility. Don't do this crap where, but I couldn't do anything and then I had to kill her. We see it in so many cases where, had to do the final solution. It was tried before. The final solution is never the option. For those of you who know history will now know why this will be demonetized.
I want to say somewhere, it was fall of 2020.
Well, after you got married, right? No?
Could have been September, October.
And I know she's allowed to lead, but this is he can't even keep his own story straight.
Okay. So fall of 2020.
Yeah,
was
fall.
the first time
Yes, right.
you had seen, as you put it, this side of Emily.
Exactly.
I will say she's confusing.
And so
as
I
heck,
just
so.
asked you, when, if ever, did another incident occur where you saw this side of her?
Right. Yes.
You can't tell me this guy can lay pipe with any conviction. She was blinded by, she probably had massive daddy issues and just wanted someone to be her daddy. She was a young girl who probably got lost in the world. She was living with her mom and dad before she lived with him. I think she was an insecure girl who probably took the bad boy and said yes to everything because, oh, he's so much older and wiser. But in reality, she just wanted someone to sit and watch stupid love after lockup videos with him. Her.
Oh my God.
There was more incidents from that point moving forward.
Well, there's always
And-
allowed a little leading. Technically,
I want to say
you're right,
it was
Jemima.
if we were in September, October, November. Yeah, I want to say probably
Yeah,
maybe late
keeps
October, early
the lifestyle
November,
going for a
if
month
I'm
and a half.
thinking on the calendar. Hard to say exactly, but there was another instance where I recall I was sitting on the bed in our bedroom and I was sending a text message. Actually, I think it was an Instagram message. But I was messaging a client that I was interested in more than a professional relationship with, and
professionals out there, don't bang where you eat.
Emily came in and she saw I was sending like a GIF or a GIF, however, and people say it differently. But yeah, like a short video clip. And when Emily came into the room, she had her laptop computer, and she saw what I was doing, and she assaulted me with her laptop.
What does that mean, she assaulted you?
She jumped on the bed and struck me in the head. Like she hit me. She had the laptop and she hit me with it
Where?
in my head,
What part of your head?
like the back of my head on the right side, I guess.
Did she say anything?
Yeah, she said things like "you're a piece of shit" and you. Something about pathetic. Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of other verbiage, but
Did she do anything else physical other than hit you in the back of the head with her laptop?
she tried to. I scurried off the side of the bed, and
What did she try to do?
she came running after me. She came scurrying across the bed, and I just sort of ran around the perimeter of the bed to stay away from her. You know, I was saying, things like calm down, let's just talk it out.
When she hit you in the head with her laptop, did it hurt?
Yes, it hurt.
Was there any blood?
No, there was no bleeding.
Did it leave like a lump in your head?
Yeah, there was like a lump, like a goose egg.
Did you seek medical attention?
No, I didn't seek any medical attention.
Okay. And how did that incident end? Did she finally calm down? for a
Yes,
second?
she did. She calmed down.
What you're watching now is a man paddling up a certain creek starting with an S without a paddle, trying to convince the jury that his half the size, half the age girlfriend, just because this man, he said he could only be single for so long. He liked the polyamorous lifestyle. And then she got mad. You know how women are. Because he was slinging it everywhere. Clients at his tattoo parlor, his old friends. And this lady got mad, beat him up constantly. And this poor man did nothing wrong. So right now you're watching. Jamie, I might be the only one here. Do you buy it, Jamie?
Well, in the beginning, I believe this stuff was happening because more than likely I have a feeling he portrayed to her a totally different type of relationship. She got in the relationship and then he started this BS. And other than his words, who knows what he was saying to her behind closed doors? No, we're monogamous. It's just me and you, and da da da. And she believes him, and I can see why she's getting mad. So I could see this stuff happening, but the point is, none of this to me equates to you having to, pew pew her in the face.
Yeah, because this man isn't adult enough to have a girlfriend in the house where you have these weird things where, oh, I have to make sure there's food in the pantry. I'll have to clean a little bit. I have to listen to you yammer on about love after lockup. All of those
Yeah.
things a relationship is based on.
Yeah, like this is just dumb for me because and it's only my personal opinion, but like, why get married to anybody at all if you want to have these, you just want to have an open relationship? Why bother?
Yeah,
You know?
him and his
And
wife did it. Oh, he didn't wait a year. He waited after a month and a half after they started dating.
yeah, why even? Who knows what he was saying to her? Like, that's the whole thing that bothers me. Like, he's saying, "Oh yeah, I told her everything, and she was okay with it." Like, was she though? Did you really tell her the truth, or were you just, mulling
Yeah,
around like,
did you just?
"Oh no, I love you. It's always you. It's only you."
Yeah, I'm so sorry. No, she texted me, and yes, I shouldn't have texted her back. But I love you. Only girl I can
Yeah.
think about is you. Yeah.
And
So no, we'll never know.
she asked me, why I was talking to this. Well, she used, she said bitch, but I told her that, I had interest, and if she wanted to talk about it further, the door was open for communication, and she actually didn't want to talk about it further. She just wanted to get some food. She wanted to go to like McDonald's and get some food and watch some Netflix.
So it just ended.
Yeah.
Did there come a time when another incident occurred where she became physical with you?
Yes.
How long after the incident you just talked about did the next one occur?
That was probably, there was an incident probably the next month, and somewhere in December, I guess it would be at this point. But yeah, like the next month there was an incident where I was tattooing a woman, and Emily was listening and watching on the Ring camera. And when the client left, she came in, and so I tattoo people on like a fold out.
What does that mean?
Essentially, it's a massage table, but it's like a large padded fold out table that a person will lie on to get tattoos and whatnot. Emily had come into the room and like flipped the table onto its side.
Online red. I don't know if you know women, but they tend to go up and down in anger very fast. Jamie, as soon as I turn off the stream, she goes up, and then I said, "But Jamie, if I PayPal you $50, can you go to Five Guys?" And she comes down again. She gets
All it
hangry.
takes.
Yeah,
All it takes.
yeah. She does threaten me to throw a laptop in my face, but it's just because she's angry.
Give me a few burger patties and I'll calm down.
Yeah. Yeah, I was giving her the tattoo and the whatnot. She was probably giving her some deep tissue massage too. Probably.
Like threw it on the floor. I
Jamie's
had
favorite fast food is Five Guys.
I had a workstation set up with a bunch of tattoo pigment. Essentially, people will call it ink.
Jesus, guys, taking
but
it
it's,
there.
different colored tattoo pigments. She like knocks everything onto the ground and comes over and starts slapping me.
Open palm?
Yeah, she had an open palm. She slapped my face, and see what had happened is I had unplugged the Ring camera. I was done being watched and scrutinized for my conversation with my friends. So I unplugged.
That's when you leave, because she clearly doesn't trust you, and you clearly want to bang your friends, which is weird, then that's when you leave. That I hate this guy more than I thought I
Well,
could.
yeah, you talk to her and be
camera.
like, okay, clearly this isn't working for you. I'm polyamorous and you're not getting it. So
Yeah,
maybe we just need to part ways.
I'm poly and you're jealous. Hasta la taco.
Bye.
And Emily did not like it, and she came in and assaulted me.
Well, you've described her hitting you on your face
Yes,
with an open palm.
that's right.
Did
Yep.
she hit you in any other way?
I think there was like some, she like pounded on me with like a closed fist, like on my chest.
Let me stop you for a second.
Yeah,
You are much bigger than Emily, aren't you?
I'm 6 foot, probably about 200 pounds.
And she was much smaller than you. wasn't
She's
she?
5'3", about 130 pounds.
So I've asked you a couple of times if what she did to you hurt you. Explain to us how a woman who's that much smaller than you can actually inflict pain.
Well, I think my nervous system is working pretty well because if someone hits me, I feel it and I have a pain response. She hit hard. She wasn't. She wasn't a gentle person. I wouldn't describe her as gentle.
Okay.
So she came in and she said, "I can't believe that you're fucking this bitch," and threw everything in the tattoo room around and. She told me she was going to have my license revoked and ruin my business and tell all her friends to not get tattooed by me.
Mass, we weren't allowed to talk about it, but I'll disclose it. The cricket sound that you think you hear is when Jamie gets too close to the front door. It's a warning that police will be called within 5 feet. We haven't heard anything about her job. Yeah, show us the videos of her beating you up.
Well, and at this point in time, I'm going to be like, hey, why are you being so crazy? I thought you told me, or I told you we were polyamorous.
Yeah.
Like,
And
of
never
course
heard
I'm
of
going
a
to F
gentle
this
pounding.
B because
Teresa, sometimes
what
you
I
do
do.
it rough and sometimes you do a little gentle pounding. It's all about the hips.
Oh, my Lord.
How did this incident end?
She was
I told
a
her the same
CNA.
thing as I told her before. Like, you got to stop hitting me. There's another way to work through this. And at this point, it had been multiple times, and that's when I suggested us getting a couples therapist. So
And you did.
yeah, we got a couples therapist. Her name was Dr. Webster, and I was trying to find a way to not stumble across the landmines, so to speak.
What does that mean? Stumble across?
Emily had triggers, and I didn't want to trigger her to make her respond with violence. So I thought working with a therapist would be a good way that I would be able to understand her more. Like I said, we were talking a lot about introducing a child, and I thought if you're going to hit me, you're going to hit the child. I'd seen her kick my dog on occasion, and I was like, I was in love with her, and I wanted to move forward with our relationship and have a baby, and I was scared for the baby. So the therapist was the natural choice. Give us the tools that we need to have a healthy, safe space.
So after you and Emily started seeing a therapist, did she or did she not continue to hit you?
She did. We set up Zoom sessions with Dr. Webster.
This was
At
during
what
COVID.
point in the relationship?
Yes, this was during
is this?
COVID, and then
No.
also there was
Less than a year in, they already they want to
Because they
have a
were-
kid, but they also have a couples therapist, and he's banging other women.
Like this is the stupidest way of thinking. I don't understand people because it's like, okay, well, I want to be with you, but I'm poly.
Yeah.
You're obviously not okay with that, but let's have children because this is so healthy. And then she's beating you, and you're like, I just got to work this out, and I'm gonna bang this girl, but let's have kids. Like it's the stupidest thing in the world.
They weren't triggers, they were other women. Yeah. That's and this is just like Sarah Boone. And he kicked my dog.
there was
Yeah.
excuse me. Dr.
She's
Webster
clearly out of
was
control.
located in Vermont and then moved to Massachusetts. So also the distance that we just continued to have Zoom sessions instead of
She probably couldn't do that because of patient confidential. Jemima will answer that one.
going to seek her out in an office setting.
Because they wanted to do the van life, go across America and see the canyon, and other places. That's why he wanted a van life, but it was only like a recreation vehicle, not like a home.
But you said notwithstanding your and Emily having couples counseling, she continued to hit you.
That's correct.
Do
Yes.
you remember the next time that she hit you?
There was an incident that I do remember her assaulting me with a wine bottle.
Is Amber Heard now?
And that time was very strange to me because there was she didn't say anything. There was no swearing. There was no nothing. Like it was odd. I got a glass of wine.
Let me stop you.
Yes.
Is this the New Year's Eve incident?
I believe so.
And this is what you remember hearing Emily's mother talk about?
Yes, I heard Adrienne talking about that the other day.
Her from
Yeah,
locking herself in her room.
I do remember her locking herself in our bedroom.
So this incident you are now going to tell us about started with you getting a glass of wine.
Yes, I got a glass of wine. I was in the living room. I was sending a message to someone. I don't remember who. And Emily had walked past me, looked at what I was doing, retrieved the wine bottle.
Was it empty, full?
It was like half full.
Okay.
Um,
Was a cork in it?
yes. Yeah, she brought it back. I'm sitting on the couch. I believe I'm just scheduling, and she assaults me. She starts hitting me with the wine bottle
Where?
in my head and arms, and
Where on your head?
in the back of my head.
So I'm going to ask you obvious questions, but did that hurt?
Yeah, it's a wine bottle to your head. It hurts.
Why didn't you leave her? I love
Yes.
it.
And then you said she hit you on other places on your body with the wine bottle?
Yes. On my arms, I put my arms up to not get any more blows to the head, and I saw an opportunity, so I wrestled the bottle away from her, and I took it and I held it away from her, and I pushed her away, and I said, "Stop hitting me," and she ran into the bedroom and like slammed the door and locked it, and she didn't say anything. So I go and I try to go in the bedroom to get an explanation, and she's just in there, and I'm yelling like, "Are you gonna explain yourself? Like, what just happened?"
Did she answer you?
No, I just heard her. I guess she was on the phone.
Okay. How did that incident end?
It just ended with her like coming out and being like, "I want a Coke. Will you take me to get a Coke?" And I'm like, "Oh."
Jamie, I know you women says go up and down a lot. But after you beat your boyfriend, is the next thing always asking for Mickey D or a Coke?
I mean, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, you beat your boyfriend and then you say, I got parts beating him with a
Really
bottle.
thirsty.
He better take me or I'll go ham on his behind again. It's this is so Amber Heard. I was laying on the floor and I thought we need to clean the floor. He was viciously beating me, and but I was thinking, I have to remember to buy new flowers. It's this constantly. Oh, she was so mean to me. Oh, she told me to get a Coke.
Bottom line for me, woman, man, small woman, big man, nobody should be laying hands on anybody for any reason. But I don't believe him. I don't really believe him at all. Like he doesn't, the story he's telling, I don't honestly believe the abuse. I believe she was probably ticked off
Yeah.
because of the situation. But we'll never know because, he gets to tell his story. That's what he wants anyway. I mean, that's the whole point of this anyway. He has to make her look like the bad guy. But ultimately it's not going to work because you decided to mutilate her body afterwards.
Yeah, and I know you use all your energy, so you need some new energy. Well, probably because he didn't get that much abused. So, and at this point, I don't know how long he has been going, but he's been going for He's gone for over an hour, and we are not nowhere near when it happened. We haven't talked about the incident. I know to build a rapport, but it's been an hour, and he's come off as a total doofus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we going to talk about that at all? Or she's like, just gives me sort of like a blank look with like a flat sort of smirk and just goes and like grabs her coat.
We don't know. We haven't done the cameras
were there
around.
ever any instances where there was a mark left on your face or your body by something Emily may have done?
Yeah, she's giving me black eyes, scratches.
Tell me about the black eye.
I was trying to communicate with her about how I felt like she wasn't being.
First of all, let me interrupt you.
Yes.
Approximately when did this happen?
I remember one instance when I believe it was August of 2021. We had gone to an inn, and I had asked her about. I thought. I need a second.
I told you this story. You helped me remember this story, and now I can't remember it. Give me a second.
To recount. Okay, that's what it was. Okay. So I thought that she wasn't being responsible with. So our arrangement, our polyamorous arrangement, sort of requires that we stay safe. I understand that, you know, sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's nice to have that spontaneity. But if you're hooking up with other people and you're getting STIs, and that means that I can't have sexual relations until you have antibiotics and they run their course, which is like a week or two. So I thought that she was being
God.
irresponsible with.
And I have to sling pee at least twice a day, and you, because of your dirty little way of life, I have to be on antis for a week so I can't sling the D. Come on now, be responsible.
You know what would avoid that? Not banging everybody. Goodness.
Don't
Like you shouldn't
with
have
every
to worry
mailbox.
about that in your own relationship.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it's
do
so
have
gross.
Jimmy hats. Put
So
one of
freaking
those on.
gross. Even that, it's just so. Could you imagine, like your
I
man
could
going out
wish.
and then
I could
coming
wish.
back and you don't know
If
how
I could just
many?
try it once in
Ugh.
my life, I would be happy.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want your girl leaving and going out and hooking up with a bunch who knows who, and because you're supposed to be okay with it. And
No, of
then,
course I
now
wouldn't, because
everybody's got to go get tests done to make sure they don't have any STIs. Ugh.
I can only ride one bicycle at the time, so I hope the bicycle only likes to be ridden by one at a time. So, no, I wouldn't
Yeah.
With
enjoy that.
No one
with
does.
her arrangements. So when I told her about it, she like walked.
This is going to take forever because he's just making my brain melt. She hates him being in a polyamorous relationship. She's so jealous, but all of a sudden, she is throwing these meat flaps at anyone who passes on the street. Make it make sense.
Up to me and started punching me in my face. And
Closed fist?
a closed fist, yeah. I think it was my right eye. Yeah, she blackened my right eye. She beat me about the head and neck. I remember, like, I wear earrings, and I remember my earrings just getting popped out. I was wearing a shirt and a necklace. Ripped my shirt right down the middle. Broke my necklace. My pendant went flying. Started kicking at me. It was just a barrage. Like the punches and kicks just kept coming and just didn't stop. And she starts screaming at me like, you don't trust me. Like, I told you that it wasn't like that. Like, why don't you believe me?
What did you do after she started hitting you and gave you a black eye?
I had to grab her by the arms. And I remember this incident, she felt, I don't know exactly how to describe it. It felt like she started doing steroids, like, or something. Like she had
Oh,
so
that's
much
a
strength that I had
stupid
to hold her
comment.
so tightly that I almost thought that I couldn't even hold her. Like she
Sir.
was like sweating and flailing and cursing, and it was an event. It was a crazy event. But I had to like
That's not
hold
how
her down,
steroids work.
and I had to like lay on top of her
Hey, Ralphie.
and like hold her down bodily and wait. It was minutes for her to run out of steam.
That
Did you
was
hit
the
her back?
most.
No, I just held her down and waited for her to cool off.
And when she cooled off, what, if any, conversation did you and she had?
What if
have?
any for the first time?
Well, I told her that in the somewhere in the fray, like one of the lamps
just-
got broken. The table was knocked over. I think there might have been some like damage to the table, and you know, I definitely suggested that we make another session with Dr. Webster immediately, and
Oh my God.
I want to say she just gave me a bit of silent treatment, and then when she finally did start talking to me, it was
JDA8.
it was things like why don't you believe like what I say, like, and I just want you to believe what I say. So I told her that I was concerned for my own physical health, because she would tell me, you know, graphic details about how she felt after intercourse with said individual, and I told her, I said, I don't want to get whatever he has. Like, if I can help it, like, I don't want to do a course of antibiotics. I'm okay with.
Come relax with us. Get your blood pressure high, because this idiot, this is like listening to A.H., Sarah Boone, Daryl Brooks, all at the same time, and still making less sense.
Is he talking about now her sleeping with somebody and going to get an STD?
Yeah, she because you have to be responsible. He
But-
had to take the talk with her, Jamie. I've done this
But
to you before, because
he's making it sound like, oh, it's not okay for her to go do that, but it's okay for
well,
him
it's
to do that.
okay if she would just be a little bit responsible,
Oh, okay, sure.
because he's the king of the polyamorous relationships.
Yeah. Just claims he never wanted monogamy. I mean, he said he was going to try it, but it just isn't going to work out. And he's been telling her and telling her. I don't know what those are, Rach.
Jamie, as I've told you before, if you are the flower standing out in the meadow, and there might be a few bees buzzing around, and because to make sure that you can have the most flowers next year, you want to be pollinated by all of them, but you have your main bee, your main squeeze, so he can use his own stinger, but the rest of them,
How do
you can
bees
get a
protect
little stinger
themselves?
protection in plastic,
Oh, okay.
just to make sure that no fungus will grow on this flower. Just that's
Very
today's-
educational show, guys. Very educational.
This is Sex Ed on a Budget. Jamie's new show will start tomorrow.
Just taking some time away and just take a break.
Okay. You
Well, in Denmark, it's the flower and the bee. I never understood the birds and the bees. They don't have smacks. At least the flower and the bee. I don't know if Americans know how to do it.
I don't think they do either.
I can't even draw a picture where that makes sense.
Interview that we've all seen, you told Detective Orson Richardson that on average, she would hit you every 2 to 3 weeks. Do you remember
Every
saying
2
that?
to 3 weeks.
I do. In December of 2020, we had started a project, a tiny home project. We were following on social media a number of couples that were doing bus builds. So that's where you take like a small shuttle, well, actually any size of shuttle bus or any size bus actually at all. But we chose a shuttle bus. We were looking at vans, initially large vans, but a shuttle bus is just larger. As I said, we're following these couples and they're traveling around and living out of their tiny homes that they built together. And like it just clicked. It was amazing. Like we were both like saw it and we're like, oh my God, we have to do this. Like said it like at the exact same time.
CJ,
And,
makes no sense. Both of them have a point.
Yeah, it was cool. So we started we started with a shuttle bus. We went and found one. I purchased it and
I don't like
brought
it.
it back to our apartment. And we started drawing up a floor plan and
I bet it was you.
started building a tiny home bus life project. We also started a social media page. We called the bus Roaming Rosie. So that was the that was the name of the page. And
Roaming
like,
Rosie.
I think I don't know if I had said this, but we had started following and talking with some of the other bus life people, and just trying to get as much information on it before we really set off into the exacts of how we wanted our bus to be laid out. And so when we start the build, I want to say that the bus is approximately 8 feet wide and 16 feet long for the living space. And that's a very close, a very close situation when having to work 2 people into a small space. And there was a lot of times during the build where frustrations would be high, and there was violence within the bus during the build. There was all right. So like there was multiple times, but for example, I was working on laying down the floor, and to make a bit of space, I would work on one end, and I would try to have her work on the other end, so we wouldn't bump into each other. She was
Yeah, I thought that's the channel he saw, and he thought that guy really got it figured out. Just unalive her and say someone she stood off the bus somewhere because she beat his ass. This is Gabby Petito all over again. She was also attacking him, and that's why he had to unalive her.
applying tiles to the shower and the kitchen area, and she was using like a Gorilla Glue in a caulk gun. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but a caulk gun is about 14 inches. It's like a metal.
So she beat you with a.
It pushes the caulk out of the tube. Actually, it was like a glue. It was like a Gorilla Glue that she was putting on the tiles and sticking them on. And I came and made a suggestion as to how to lay it out so she would have less overhang and have to do less cuts. And I don't know. She was frustrated and started cursing at me that like why didn't you fucking say something earlier? Like you're such a piece of shit for just making me do this. I told her, I said, you wanted to do it, and she just said fuck you and started hitting me with a caulk gun.
Where?
Hmm?
Where did she hit you with the caulk gun?
Well, I saw it coming, so I put my arm up, and she hit me in my forearm, like the side of the hand and the outer forearm.
Once?
No. This was probably 3 or 4 strikes.
And what did you do?
So I grabbed the caulk gun, and I told her to go in the house and watch some Netflix or something. Told her it's not okay to hit.
Is that what she did?
Okay to hit.
Yes, she went inside and she, I believe she was watching Netflix. I didn't go in after her. Yeah, we were just taking a break to, kind of let her just get her, cool down from her frustration.
So there were periods.
Did you ever ask her, have you tried calming down? I know that works for a lot of women when they get a little flustered. Say, honey, I think you're having one of your episodes. Could you please take a deep breath and just calm down?
Yep.
No marriages have ever ended up worse because a man said that to a woman. Marriage advice from the baker.
Periods of time. So you got married in October of
Don't
2020.
listen
October
to it.
2020.
And over the year that you were married, you
Well,
described
it's
to us
not technically-
multiple incidents where Emily physically attacked you, right?
Right.
You haven't told us all about all of them, have you?
They all just sort of blend together. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's
Blend
almost always the
together.
same. Either she'll have a disagreement about who I'm going to spend my time with, or if I'm spending too much time.
Yeah, your wife would like you not to spend time with every other woman you met on the.
In the bus and not
I need
enough,
to-
like not giving her enough
Your
attention,
life,
or
yeah, she doesn't
it
want you to
always
bring
ends the
back
same with her
STDs.
running up
Like,
and,
come on.
punching
Such a
me,
hard
trying to
thing
punch
to
me in the
ask.
face,
She's
punching
the
me in
flower.
my
She
body
should
and
protect
in my
herself.
arms, my
Remember
chest.
that, Jamie. It's always the flower's fault.
Mostly a lot of like arms and I just block her to keep her back, kicking me, just out, lashing out. A lot of lashing out. She had expressed to me that she was abused and raped multiple times, and she would have these fits where I think she would like close her eyes and shake, and I think that she was almost like reliving something.
Calls for speculation. Saying what he thinks someone is thinking.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. I can't really speculate on what exactly she was thinking, but from my standpoint, watching a person with closed eyes shaking before they lash out and strike you made me think that way.
So
Cool.
you never contacted the police about any of the times that she assaulted you? Did
No,
you?
it's not their business.
Not their business. That's a motto that you live your life by, isn't it?
I'm an independent
It's all-
person. I'm a very private person. I don't want to dump my crap on other people.
Where did you learn this philosophy?
Growing up in the city, I'm from Pennsylvania. I lived in a city called Reading for a while. I lived in Philadelphia for a while. I lived in Lancaster for a while. I lived in Allentown for a while. These are all very populated cities when comparing to Vermont, which our biggest city in Vermont is Burlington, which isn't. It's not even an eighth of like the smallest city in Pennsylvania. So, when you grow up in the city, you mind your own business.
Was this something that your family believed?
Yes.
And from whom did you hear this philosophy of nobody's business, keep it in the family?
My whole family, grandparents, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, like we all just, what happens here stays here.
And you said earlier this morning that you were physically abused yourself growing up. Who was the person who?
This guy. I don't know, Moni. If you really want to get the full effect of what he's trying to, if you want to get the full effect of if you believe him or not, I don't believe him whatsoever. I think he was stringing this chick along and constantly cheating on her, and that's what he wanted to do. And who knows, maybe she was threatening to leave him and he's just doing that thing. Like, nope, I'm going to be with you. Ultimately, he's going to have a big problem when it comes to what happened that day and when he decided to defend himself and then what he did afterwards. Nobody is buying it. Nobody's going to buy it at all. I mean, like I said, I don't agree with anybody putting hands on anybody. I don't care if it's a small woman or not. but we don't know the truth. We're just hearing his side. She can't speak about it. But what's coming out of his mouth to me is not believable. I'm not buying it.
Was there a time when you were growing up that social services, child welfare was called?
Yes, there was.
Tell me about how that came about.
When I was, hard to say age, but I'm going to probably estimate maybe between 6 and 8 years old. I was at school. It was a public school in Pennsylvania, and I had some bruising that one of the teachers had seen, and I got called into the office where I was questioned about my bruises, and
So now we're at his 6-year-old.
the teacher or guidance counselor or whoever it was had said that
Objection, Your Honor. You're saying.
You can't say what they told you.
Oh.
What you can tell
Talking
us
about-
is what happened.
there was bruises on me, and they said that they were going
Objection,
to.
Your Honor.
You
Hearsay.
can't say what other people said.
Oh,
You can only tell us what happened as a
Oh, okay.
result of this.
okay. So my family was notified that Child Protective Services.
He's talking about how he was abused as a child. So, and they're arguing about it.
As always, he was potty trained the wrong way. That's why he had to do it. And yes, his dad might have unalived his stepmom.
Those bruises on you.
Physical discipline from my mother. I believe that they were hanger marks.
Hanger?
Yeah, from being hit with a hanger, a close hanger.
Okay. On what parts of your body?
My back and my arms.
Okay. So you were hit as a child.
Yes.
Were you ever taken out of the home as a result of
Objection, Your
this?
Honor.
It's a state.
I'll withdraw the question.
It's a state.
No.
You don't have to answer.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Your
So
Honor, can we approach?
Yeah.
Could you get on with this instead of doing all of this BS?
It was from your family and your growing up in cities.
Right.
You learned what happens in the family stays in the family.
that's right.
And that's why you never called police or any other authorities
Right.
about what was happening to you from Emily's hitting you.
That's right.
Oh, this is allowed today, Money G.
I think it's been testified,
He was the 6th.
but I want to ask you directly. You and Emily considered divorcing at various times over the year that you were married. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Both of you
Then we'll-
individually,
Shut up.
Yes.
you saw an attorney about getting a divorce?
I never saw an attorney.
Oh, okay. But you thought about it?
Yeah. So, well, I had gone and gotten papers from the courthouse multiple times.
You did.
Yes.
And do you know if Emily ever considered divorce?
Sometimes I would be pushing for it. Sometimes she would be pushing for it. We always would reconcile.
Okay. Why did you consider divorce?
Well, I wanted her to be more responsible with her financial obligations. I wanted her to pay for her own vehicle, her own insurance, her own cell phone plan, her own credit cards. I said I was fine paying for the food, but she had to step up and pay her bills that she came into the relationship with.
So you didn't mention that her hitting you was a reason why you might want to get a divorce, did you?
No, she never hurt me.
Well, you told us that she hurt you.
Well,
Yeah.
right. She never caused severe physical injury that I wasn't going to recover from. It was just kind of normal stuff. Like I got hit when she got frustrated, and I was trying to figure out ways that we could work on her triggers. So we worked with the therapist. We did things like have pillow fights instead. Like I would just give her a pillow to hit me with, or hit Remy with, because, you know, she could swing away and she wasn't going to hurt us with a pillow.
So you just testified that it was normal for
So
to lash out.
how does that help?
Frustrated.
That doesn't.
Yeah, perpetuate that you can attack me as long as you don't leave marks. That's the way to get
Yeah.
out of a violent relationship. Remember that, ladies. If your fella is beating on you, just say, "Could you put on a boxing glove? It doesn't hurt as much," and then you can beat
Yeah.
me up.
Let me wrap myself in pillows and then it's okay.
Yeah.
Or come on.
Or it might not be normal for everyone, but most of my relationships, the women in my life have been aggressive, and I guess I could say physically abusive.
So you tolerated being hit? Am I
Yes.
hearing you?
Yes.
Steven.
Okay. Judge, may we approach briefly?
The new aerodynamic My Pillow for when your wife is getting a little naggy and she just needs to hit you in the face.
So I want to talk to you now about the weekend of October 16th. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where had you and Emily been living prior to that weekend?
I've been staying with my friends, the Langs. Well, I've been staying on my friends, the Langs, Sarah and Jason Lang's property. Living in our tiny home bus that we were building. That was some summer going into fall of 2021.
So let me.
And then,
Go ahead.
oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt
I
you.
didn't mean to. Okay. So at some point, I want to say it was like end of the summer, beginning of fall. We had planned to do a trip in our tiny home. I'm going to call her Roaming Rosie. So we were going to take Rosie and have a trip where we would be living remotely, sort of off grid. And there was a plan to put a solar power, like a solar power system into Rosie. Emily was very interested in having the ability to charge her cell phone, so she could watch Netflix and you know, just have some creature comforts while being off grid. So she said she was going to pay for the solar setup, batteries, converters, panels. She said that her stepfather David would assist in installing the solar system.
Physically help.
Yes, but he would. Yeah, she said that he would. She said David will help put the solar system in the bus. So she had come. She came to Vermont and she said,
Ophelia.
you know, today's the day. Let's go to New Hampshire. And I was like, you haven't even gotten the stuff. Like, you don't have the. I don't think she had the funds at all to buy the solar equipment.
The question was, I want to talk to you about the 16th.
Oh yeah, so I was sorry.
The question was, where were you living at that time?
Oh, so we were in New Hampshire for the reasons that I was just talking about. And
You were just giving us a background of how it came
yeah,
about.
that was.
Let me just finish the question.
I'm sorry.
That you were staying with the Basses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how long had you been staying with them?
I think that I came to New Hampshire in September of 2021. I remember Adrian saying something about it the other day, and I can't really remember fully, but that sounds sort of accurate. So yes, staying in New Hampshire with the Basses when we left for our trip to Vermont.
Okay. What was the purpose of the visit to Vermont?
a family reunion was the purpose of our visit. My sister, she had come to Vermont for a weekend getaway with her boyfriend, Ariel. And this was going to be an opportunity for Emily to meet some of my family.
So just to remind everyone, because we heard Nikki's testimony, she's about 8 years younger than you.
That is correct.
And so I think
Just heard the case summary. Broken Baker gave in response to my early message. Why watch hours of boring trial testimony when Baker can give it all to you in 30 seconds or less? Much appreciated. Sandy D, every woman I have been with have said exactly the same thing. Apparently, they felt disappointed. You are happy about it. So, but please stick around for it because it helps my algorithm that people watches it more than 30 seconds. So, but thank you so much for the super. Jamie, you know when I get tired, I say stuff I shouldn't say or I get bored.
Thank you, Sandy D.
Thank you so much, Sandra D. Poor Miss
Sandra
Virginity.
D.
Can't go to bed till she's legally wed. She can't. She's Sandra D.
you told us you left the house when you were about 16. Is that about right?
That is correct.
So she would have been 8 years old.
That is correct.
And had you been close to Emily in the years after you left your home?
Nikki?
Judge, sorry, I
You mean
didn't
Nikki?
understand the question.
Was I close to Nikki?
I'm sorry.
Objection, well, it's not sustained, but I don't think he meant to say what she said. Why don't you rephrase
Oh,
it?
okay.
I think you said Emily.
Had you been close to Nikki in the years after you left?
I try to keep in contact with my sister. I've always been a huge fan of her. I do feel like an older brother to her. So also she's just amazing, and I did try to keep in contact with her.
When was the last time you saw her prior to this intended visit?
Physically saw her
Yes.
in person. That would be 2018.
So 3 years.
Somewhere around 2018, I believe. Yes, 3 years.
Were you looking forward to?
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I'm her biggest fan. So I was very much looking forward to seeing her. Emily as well was looking forward to seeing her. She was looking forward to meeting my family. And
So you were both looking forward to the trip?
exactly. Yes, we were both looking.
Yeah, I don't know why his sister. He's the biggest fan of his sister. It's he. That's a lot of words I don't understand. He was a tattoo artist who banged his clients. I don't know if they paid for the banging or the tattoos or paid the tattoos with the banging.
Very excited to go on the trip. We've been working on Rosie for a while, and very excited to try it out.
So what was Emily's mood the day that you were leaving?
The day that we left to come on our trip,
Yes.
I'm just thinking. Sorry. There's in the morning we woke up. She was happy, very happy, very excited, maybe a little anxious.
Anxious about what?
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Ferlazzo does not know what Emily was anxious about.
That's true. What are you basing what did you observe?
I observed her being anxious to meet my family.
Okay, that's fine. And we've heard testimony that you didn't actually leave New Hampshire until late in the afternoon, maybe early evening. Is that right? You remember?
Yes, there was like a PowerPoint that said we left New Hampshire sometime like 3 in the afternoon-ish.
What were you doing?
Yeah,
during that
happy
day?
ending tattoo. Well, his dad had a massage parlor.
Well,
as well.
we woke up in the morning. I remember
Allegedly.
she made me some coffee. I believe we made breakfast together. And then just sort of putting things away. We were going to drive Rosie and wanted to stow everything appropriately so nothing was.
Rosie is their truck because they were watching van life videos and named her Roaming Rosie. I bet you they thought, oh, well, if this ever was true, that they were, oh, we can be like these van life people and go around and then make money off of YouTube, because you can't have too many people living in a shitty little van talking about, oh, we parked outside of Walmart and then this is how I black out my windows. It's such a wonderful thing. I would have that car that probably is right next to them, taking them to the hotel, because who the hell lives in a van? I saw this chick in she was driving a van around Europe, and she'd been doing it and doing all, oh, it's so amazing and I'm so free, and then it started to become colder, and she talked about how shitty it was to live in a van with no heating and no television and nothing. It wasn't that
Yeah.
fun in the end.
It's not always that fun.
Yeah.
Gonna like fall out and hit her or Remington as we drove.
And who's Remington?
Remington is our dog.
Okay.
Yeah, so we packed everything up tightly to prepare for the drive. We had to move some of the vehicles around. The bus is about 24, 27 feet in length-ish. I don't have it accurate, but it's a long vehicle, and there's a short driveway at the Bass's residence that spills out onto a sometimes heavily traveled road.
She was in France.
Just moving things so we could leave.
I actually
efficiently.
think she was right outside of Monaco.
I know it's a little early, Judge, but I would like to take a break now. We can come back at 1:15.
That's not that early. It's 12 o'clock. She was
Please approach so that actually you're hearing what Ms. Chance is saying.
she was a certified nurse assistant, CNA. That's certified nurse assistant, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Are we going on a break?
We'll take an hour break and resume testimony. Please, again, warn, have a great lunch. Don't talk about the case. Don't learn anything or seek to learn anything. Take care.
Did he say when they're going to come back?
I didn't hear that part.
Take
You
a
may have
break.
to
We'll come
rewind.
back at 12:50. We'll start up again. We'll take an hour break
12:50,
and resume
not 12:15.
Please, again, warn, have a great lunch. Don't talk about the case. Don't learn anything or seek to learn anything. Take care.
I don't know how much more this lady can stretch this out, but they should have this to the jury today,
Yeah.
and we should have a verdict today, in my opinion. Schedule for later, 18:45. Upload thumbnail. Wink. Apply. Customization.
Anyone wants to go on record?
Redirect.
No, thank you, Judge.
No, thank you, Judge.
Start promptly at 10 and 1.
10 to 1. Come on. Oh, I can do the poll while I'm setting up the redirect. No, I don't want to share an ad.
Oh my gosh.
Quick. It would be good if they were done today, because we can read tomorrow. But we can speed run it if it's just pretty watch. Does you believe him? Do you believe him? Jamie, you spelled it wrong. 75% says no. Only for a gentle pounding, 18%. 5% says yes. So 12% believe that the state hadn't proved it, but only 5% believe him on the stand. So it's going to be interesting to see if they still believe he, because if the state didn't prove it, then let's see if the guilty, not guilty goes up or down. Does he really think he's helping his case? Probably. Yeah, he never heard me. Probably going to be something that the state will bring up. I doubt we'll be here for 4 or 5 days. I don't think it's going to be that one. His testimony is just weird and convoluted. Yeah, this is. I don't know what this is, but it's something else.
Well, it's
So,
just a lot of like, she was just beating me mercilessly every
I
day.
woke up and
What
I
did he
said,
say? Like every 3 weeks? Did he say every 3 weeks or something?
no, that's when he went to the therapist with her. But it's
Oh.
kind of like, have you watched? We were soldiers.
No.
Once were soldiers. So the one with Mel Gibson about the first major battle that the U.S. had in the Vietnam kerfuffle.
No.
And why is it doing this? But they were doing the. They had a master sergeant who every morning a guy said, "Hey, good morning, Master Sergeant. What do you know? What kind of a goddamn morning it is today? Beautiful weather, Master Sergeant. Do you know what are you the effing weatherman?" I think she was like that. Oh, every morning I came in, I said good morning, and she just slapped me in the face and said, "Do you know what kind of morning I'm having?"
Yeah.
That's,
Who's this B you're talking to now?
yeah.
Why do you have another STD?
How do you know what kind of it is? Well, Brandon, because I'm 6 hours ahead of you, so I know how the day was. Yes, they call me snake shit because I fly as low as a snake. Well, type faster, Brandon. But everyone, this was worse and better than I expected. This is an amalgamation of 4 different other cases, self-defense claims, or victim claims, where you're just sitting here thinking. But that makes it more interesting to come back in roughly 40 minutes, so we can do the part 2 of it, and make sure that we totally understand how this woman treated this man poorly. And I bet you she threw that Yankee candle at him, Jamie.
Of course she did. I mean, she was
Yeah.
throwing laptops and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah, it's she, and then we're gonna get to the police didn't let me sleep, eat, drink, be warm, be cold, whatever it is. That's why I had to give the testimony I did. But Jamie, there's only one way to find out. It's to go get something to eat and then be back in roughly 40 minutes, where we're gonna go again.
What exhibit are you referring to? I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor. All right. 100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
Objection, Your Honor. So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All
right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't have cared.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.